It's time for the Bedlam series of football. Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State, live on Fox Sports Net, next.
Today on Fox Sports Net, few schools can match the rich college football traditions of Oklahoma. Six-time national champions, the first team to win back-to-back national titles twice. Their coaches, Wilkinson, Switzer, were legends on the sidelines. But in recent years, the National Championship Cup ran dry. Now, in the 21st century, the Sooners are back, led by an offensive machine that's triggered by Heisman Trophy candidate Josh Heupel. The undefeated Oklahoma Sooners are once again the #1 team in the nation. Today, the pressure is on to stay undefeated and on top of the polls. So much is riding on this game. Bowl bids, the national championship, but it won't be easy. The Sooner wagon travels to the unfriendly confines of Stillwater, Oklahoma, home of the upset-minded Oklahoma State Cowboys, who bid farewell to their mentor, Coach Bob Simmons. An emotionally charged afternoon of excitement awaits on this edition of College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net.
It is a beautiful day for football in the Big 12 Conference, and a sellout crowd have come to Lewis Field in Stillwater for the 95th Bedlam series of football between the top-ranked and undefeated Oklahoma Sooners and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Hello again, everybody. Along with James Lofton, I'm Ron Thulin, and this is our last regular season game. We feature the top-ranked team in the country, but we also feature the most accurate passer in college football, Josh Heupel. And if Oklahoma State wants to win this football game, they have to find a way to slow this guy down.
Well, I know all the ballots have gone out, and I'd put my dimple next to Josh Heupel's name. He would definitely get my vote. 67% completion percentage this year. He's done everything they've asked of him, won all 10 ball games to this point. So when they recount, I think Josh Heupel will be Heisman Trophy winner.
You're not going to get an argument from me. Now, the Oklahoma State Cowboys will be going after their 4th win in the last 6 games versus the Oklahoma Sooners, but it's an emotional day for the Cowboys. As head coach Bob Simmons in his 6th year, he announced he is resigning. He was under fire at the time. We know there's going to be execution.
Well, I think Bob Simmons has talked about the fact that they have to let those emotions out, but still you have to play a football game out there. You're playing the #1 team in the country. You have to play with perfection. You have to play maybe the perfect game if you expect to upset the Sooners.
Well, history tells us that Oklahoma State will have their hands full today, because when Oklahoma is ranked #1, they are 42-0 versus unranked opponents. You know, the OU defense has gotten a lot of publicity, and it's because of their linebackers. Rocky Caldas, a Butkus finalist, and Torrance Marshall, his counterpart. The defense is ready, and so are we. Kickoff straight ahead.
Welcome back to College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net.
That is part of the best crew in all of college football, our Fox Sports Net guys. Gentlemen, we thank you for a great season. We're set to finish it off with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And in the past in this series, there have been some great running backs. And today, they're going to have a couple of running backs that could make a difference. With more on that, third member of our broadcast team, here's Eric Clemens.
All right, Ron, both teams have playmakers in the run game. Oklahoma's defensive coaches say Oklahoma State's Reggie White might be the most explosive back in the conference. He ranks 4th in the Big 12, averaging 100.5 yards a game. Now, the smallest Oklahoma Sooner, 5'7" Quentin Griffin, has a knack for scoring touchdowns, 16 of them this year. Coach Bob Stoops will need him to come up with big plays in the ground game, as he has all year long. Guys?
Thank you very much, Eric. This is the most lopsided rivalry in college football since 1946. OSU's won only 6 times. Bob Stoops, 17-5 in his 2nd year at Oklahoma. Just signed a contract extension. He said he is extremely happy as head coach at Oklahoma. And in his last head coaching job at Oklahoma State, with family by his side, Bob Simmons 3-2 versus the Sooners in his 6th season. He's not sure what's going to happen after this. And we are set. The Sooners kick off as Oklahoma State won the toss. They elected to receive, and that's a goodbye as Oklahoma State will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. The OSU offense, they've had a lot of success moving the football this year, but they have not been scoring a lot. They're 90th in scoring, and at quarterback making his 6th start, the redshirt freshman Aso Pogai. He's poised, has a live arm. The line is big and solid. Josh Lind at right tackle, the only senior on the line. And they're going to start 3 wideouts with Lindsey, Woods, and Fobbs.
In the backfield, number 4.
Reggie White, the lone setback, joining Aso Pogai. He will start from the shotgun. This young man taking over for Tony Lindsey has been exceptional the last couple of games. Fobbs in motion. They keep it on the ground with White. Tries the right side. I believe it's going to be dumped. Nothing doing by that Sooner defense. A defense that's been able to force turnovers this year. They forced 30 turnovers on the season. The line very underrated, but they are excellent. Corey Callens, his 41st start for the Sooners. The linebackers, they are the best combo in the league with Marshall and Calmus. Roger Steppen also joins them at the linebacking core. And in the secondary, Thompson, Thatcher, Williams, and Strait. A defense that hasn't gotten the publicity of the offense, but they are solid. Second down, we'll call it 9. Again, it is White. Left side. This time he dances over the 25 up to about the 27-yard line before Corey Callens comes up to make the stop. The senior out of Jenks, Oklahoma in Tulsa.
You know, we heard so much about Aso Pogai coming into this ballgame, about his strong arm. But watch what he does as a quarterback. There's the block, and Roy Williams is coming at him. Roy Williams says, I'm not going to let a quarterback block me. I'll take him to the ground before he takes me to the ground.
Pogai ran for 4 touchdowns, threw for another last week versus Baylor as the Cowboys snapped the 7-game losing skid. And they want to win this one for the coach. Bob Simmons says, let's not have any of that. Let's win one for the school. Third down. Pogai, nice little touch. Pass is complete up to Fobbs, and he gets up to the 40-yard line with his 30th reception of the year. Rocky Calmus comes up to make the stop.
Nice offensive formation by Dale Miller right here. The tight end's on this side, but he's an ineligible receiver because this guy covers him up. That throws Oklahoma off a little bit. Then they get the ball to Jamal Fobbs in the slot. Jamal Fobbs, I talked to him on the field before the game. I said, you're going to have a big game today. He said, I hope so. I just hope they turn me loose. This guy can run it. He can catch it. He can probably throw and kick it if they give him a chance.
I think he can, too. Now they go with 4 wide receivers. Oklahoma State wanted to run a lot of unbalanced stuff today. They'll keep it on the ground, straight ahead, up to the 50 into Oklahoma territory. J.T. Thatcher finally bringing Reggie White down, the senior out of Liberty, Texas. Pickup of 12 on the play. They're showing what they need to do, and that's get big yardage on first down.
And I think a lot of it is about formation, spreading them out, giving them some different looks. That time, 4 wide receivers. You get Reggie White. He pierces that middle. Bob Simmons, you see the crutch. Did he break his fibula?
Yeah.
He got a big pile on the sideline. He said he was watching the first group of guys go by, then the second wave got him. It's always the second guy that
he said he never saw him. Well, the ground game's successful. They try it again, and again they pick up yardage. Inside the 45, down to the 43. Derek Strait making the stop again on Reggie White, but not before he picked up 5. And it is so essential in this football game for OSU to stay on schedule. They do not want 2nd and 6.
Yeah, Del Miller said if we can get 2nd and 6 or less, that's good for us. 2nd and 7, 8, 9, 10. Then it goes back to Oklahoma because they can put that pressure on you. They can mix it up. Now it really is in the hands of the Cowboys.
Well, they have only 4 base runs in their playbook. Aso Pogai also a threat to run. Let's try it again. This time the Sooners cover up, picking up 3 on the play. Again, it is Reggie White. You saw he's gone over 1,000 yards this year running the football. 12th Cowboy to do that.
Now, it doesn't seem like it should be, but 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 has become a tough situation for teams in college football because you no longer see a fullback. Normally you see 3 wide receivers, a tight end, a lot of multiple formations. Now you get 3rd and 1, and you really do need a lead blocker. You can try it with a backup tight end, but teams don't have that fullback just lying around.
OSU only 33% on 3rd down. They go 2 wideouts to the right. Man in motion. It is White. To the fullback, Tim Burrow, and he is stacked up, nothing doing.
Gets straight ahead number 40, Tim Burrow.
Burrow only his 21st carry on the year, and Rocky Calmus was right in the mix. The linebacker, the Butkus finalist, that will be decided on December 8th, and you'll be able to see that right here on Fox Sports Net. James Lofton and I get the chance of hosting that, and now Bob Stoops waiting to see what OSU's going to do, and they're going for it.
Well, the first time what they did on third down, they tried to match power against power. They tried to stick the fullback up in there. Your best running back is Reggie White. I say you put the ball in his hands. You try to slam it up in there. Here's the error. They're going to try and maybe get between the right guard and right tackle.
They'd like to go over Josh Lind at right tackle, and now also Pogai is going to call a timeout. We saw him in the Baylor game, able to get the Baylor Bears to jump off a number of occasions. He's done that throughout the year, but he doesn't get the Sooners to move at all.
I think it's almost impossible. You got 4th and a long 1 trying to get them to jump off sides. If it's 4th and an inch, maybe you can get them then, or 3rd and an inch when that defense is really aggressive. But the defense is smart. What they're telling themselves right now is we don't want guys to jump off sides. Mike Stoops, he's right in the middle of their pile. He's saying, guys, don't jump off sides. Watch the ball. You know, this isn't the end of the ball game. Sure, it's a big opening drive for the Cowboys, but you know, we're resilient. We've been there before. We've been tested on the road. We've been tested at home. We're number 1. There's Brent Venables right in the middle of that also. The co-defensive coordinators, and they really do work well together. We talked about their relationship. Every once in a while, you'll see them getting excited on the sidelines. They get excited as soon as they get off the bus for a ball game.
They were pumped last night. They said that they coach every play. They said even if a player makes a play, they said Bob Stoops wants us to make sure that these guys are still in the right position. You can see what they've done as far as forced turnovers just in the conference games. They forced 20, 30 overall, but they've only forced 4 turnovers the last 2 games while coughing the ball up 7 times.
Cowboy football is proud to be supported by Gatorade Thirst Quencher.
They've given up the fewest points since 1993, the Sooner defense. And now OSU decides they're going to go ahead and kick it away. Not going to take a chance early on in this football game. J.T. Thatcher.
Now there's Pogai as the up back.
Keep an eye on him. The kick by Scott Elder. Hits at the 10. Rolls toward the end zone. Nice job, OSU covering it up. And they're going to down it at about the 1-yard line.
And the difference in college football, you saw the guy go in the end zone, knock the ball back out. It's where the ball is, not the feet of the man. In the NFL, if that guy steps in the end zone, then it's a touchback. That's an excellent play by the Sooners to knock that ball back out of the end zone.
Paul Jones covering it up, the quarterback, 39 yards on the kick, and OU is going to have their backs against the wall, their first possession of the football game. We are in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Lewis Field for the 95th meeting between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. The Sooners try to become the first South team in the Big 12 to go undefeated in conference play. Their first possession, they keep it on the ground. Trying the right side, Quentin Griffin, a little 5'7" sophomore running back. Now the OU offense averages better than 450 yards. The quarterback, of course, Josh Heupel, 22 games, at least 1 touchdown, and 22 games, at least 50% completion. The line, they have been solid, improved each week with Romero, Duncan, Bertram, Skinner, and Kempening. The Sooners have 3 wide receivers with plus 500 yards receiving. 5 of them have caught passes better than 50 yards. Second down, we'll call it 5. Heupel takes his time, swings it out. Quentin Griffin gets away from 1 tackle. Dances up to the 15 to the 16-yard line. Terrence Robinson pulling him out of bounds. As we take a look at the Oklahoma State defense that absolutely has to play with emotion in this football game.
You have to play with emotion, but you also have to execute. And one of the basic things on defense is tackling after the catch. Right there, the head should actually be on the opposite side, on the outside. Lets Quentin Griffin get to the sideline and turn that into about 5 or 6 extra yards and an easy pickup for a first down.
So the Sooners out of the hole. Heupel back about 10 yards, swings it back out to Griffin. Again a missed tackle as he gets up to the 26-yard line.
Complete to 22, Quentin Griffin.
Pickup of about 9 on the play. The OSU defense, the key, the line has to get pressure. They'll come with 3, they'll come with 4. Jaquay Thomas needs to get some pressure from the outside. The linebackers, Robinson, Levels, and Carter. Levels is awfully good. The secondary, this young secondary has given up 19 touchdown passes this year. Chris Massey, number 8, is their best cover man. And they're going to measure this thing off. Not sure if it's a first down. Right at our Verizon 1st and 10 line. Tom Ehlers, the referee today, is going to make sure about it. And Oklahoma, their second first down of the football game.
First down is good for Oklahoma. Southwestern Denver.
OU won last year's game 44-7. Forced 4 turnovers in that football game. They returned an interception for a touchdown, a punt for a touchdown. And Oklahoma State says we need to remember that football game because they want to send their seniors out on a good note. First and 10 for Oklahoma. Heupel at his 22-yard line. And then he drops back another 5. Looking across the middle, has a man, pass incomplete.
Heupel's pass is incomplete.
Off the hands of Damian Mackey, the sophomore out of Union City, California. A lot of times on 1st and 10, you'll see this Oklahoma Sooner team. They like to throw that screen, be it a jailbreak screen, any kind of screen. They like throwing it when they need big yardage. And it sets up 2nd and 10. Heupel with 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the bottom of your screen. Here comes the rush. Pressure backside. Heupel's pass is complete to Fagan. Another Oklahoma first down as he gets up to the 43-yard line. Pickup of 18 on the play.
Number 12.
And he gets up slowly.
I think the most frustrating thing if you're playing against Josh Heupel is when you think you have him in trouble, he's really at his most dangerous. He's going to have to move out of the pocket because of the blitzer on this side. And when he moves to his left and he throws back across his body. Nice catch down the field by Curtis Fagan. This guy, Josh Heupel, you think you have him cornered, and that's when he's at his most dangerous.
Another 1st and 10 for the Sooners. 3 wide receivers to the left. Hesitation. Quentin Griffin with some running room down to the 20. Knocked out of bounds at the 17-yard line.
Pushed out of bounds by number 8, Griffin by City.
Now the Sooners getting great success from their offensive line, opening up the running game.
You run that old counter OT trap, see the tackle come all the way from the backside. He gets the kick-out block. A player's greatest strength is also his greatest weakness. Quentin Griffin, short legs. So they get going real fast. Well, once they get going real fast, they don't pick up as much yardage to pull away from people. And this guy gets in and out of breaks well. He sees the football exceptionally well for somebody who's only 5'7".
Pickup of 39 on the play. The Sooners very methodical on this first drive. Fagan in motion. They keep it on the ground with Seth Luttrell, the senior fullback out of Mustang, Oklahoma, whose father, Jim Luttrell, played for the Sooners. Dwayne Levels came up with the first hit. One thing we've seen for Oklahoma State, we've already seen one blitz. But if you look at the Texas A&M and the Texas Tech games, both teams successful against Oklahoma. The Oklahoma coaches said the one thing those two teams did, they did not blitz as much as other teams.
Well, if you're going to lay back, then you have to play tight zone coverage, and you also have to be able to bump the receivers as they run through the zone. But if you give Josh Heupel time to look down the field, he's going to eventually find someone open.
Sooners with great success rate in the red zone, as we saw, better than 93%. Heupel, straight drop, steps up in the pocket. This is where he's dangerous. Looks in the end zone, almost intercepted. Robbie Gillum, the junior out of Highland Village, Texas, had his hands on it from the free safety spot and almost got it, looking right up into the sun.
I think the toughest thing to do when you're scrambling is to identify where the line of scrimmage is. Right now, it's at the 12-yard line. Josh Heupel pulls up early in front of that 12-yard line, launches the ball. His receivers don't realize what he's trying to do with the throw, trying to hang it up right at the back of the end zone, and they're still breaking flat across the end zone.
3rd down and 5. Heupel, plenty of time. Fagan to the 5, down to the 4-yard line. That'll be good for a 1st and goal for the Sooners. Fagan, his second reception of the afternoon, 34th on the year.
I think the toughest thing for a defensive unit is trying to pick out who the go-to guy is. Is it Savage? Is it Fagan? Is it Griffin out the backfield? Is it Woolfolk? Everybody has about the same number of catches. They're all clustered together. Josh Heupel, when asked who his favorite receiver is, he said, I really don't have one. I just throw it to the guy who's open.
That's the way this offense is designed. 4 wide receivers now for the Sooners. They keep it on the ground. Griffin, of course, had 6 touchdown runs against Texas, 16 on the year, the most since Billy Sims in '79. This time he's wrapped up by Kevin Williams.
And that's a nice job at the point of attack by Kevin Williams, because when you watch film on this ball club, they get down the field throwing the football, but when they get in close, we talked about Quentin Griffin, 16 rushing touchdowns, they realize he's going to get the ball, what plays he's going to run, and Kevin Williams, they're running directly at him. Scott Kempenick is over him. He's 6'6", 310 pounds. He stood his ground very well that time. There he is right there at the bottom of the screen.
Again, Fagan showing a little motion. Heupel rifles in. Touchdown, Curtis Fagan and the Oklahoma Sooners.
Number 12, Curtis Fagan. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
And he has now set a new OU single-season record for touchdown receptions, breaking the mark set by Eddie Hinton and Jarrell Jackson. That is his 7th touchdown catch of the year. Talk about an impressive drive. You start at the 1-yard line of your opponent, backed up at their field. And the extra point by Tim Duncan is good. His 56th of the year. Curtis Fagan with the touchdown, and the number 1 Oklahoma Sooners strike first. College football on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Isn't it time for a real car? And by True Value, where health is just around the corner. That's the Edmond Law Library here on the campus of Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, about an hour and some change away from Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Along with Eric Clemens and James Lofton, I'm Ron Thulin. 7-0 as Tim Duncan kicks it away, and again, this is headed for the end zone. And it is good. The key play on that touchdown drive came on the ground.
And these offensive linemen run exceptionally well. Frank Romero out. He gets the first kick-out block. You get that block, you get a back end. And here is actually a double block. Get one there, and he's going to shield number 54 because of the action. And then down the field, you have the tight end. He's on his guy, and that's really being active when you're on your feet, getting in the face of a defensive back.
Mark Mangino, who's also the offensive coordinator, has done an exceptional job with that offensive line of the Sooners. That is one of the reasons for their success. The Cowboys moved the ball on their first possession, couldn't get into pay dirt. Reggie White, he's been the workhorse of the Cowboys. One thing we talked about to both Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator of Oklahoma State, and Del Miller, offensive coordinator, how important it was not to get behind early in this football game, because when Oklahoma gets a lead, it's tough to make up ground on them.
It really is. When you talk to the coordinators, they're on each side, one on this side, and then Cassidy on the other side. What they want to do in the ball game, they want to have ball control, but they also want to come up with points. That's what they haven't been able to do, only averaging 19 points a ball game. That first drive, 4th and 1, they don't go for it, then they have to punt. The other team goes 99 on you.
Fobbs in motion, Poguy fakes, goes deep, has a man. Marcellus Rivers has it knocked away. Derek Strait right there on the coverage. He was joined by Ante Jones.
Now, if you're going to go for a stop and go, you want your speed guy doing it. Marcellus Rivers at 6'4", 260 pounds, is kind of one of those guys who plays tight end. He can move out to receiver, but he's not going to run away from Derek Strait. I want the guy off the track team running that stop and go.
That'd be somebody like Willie Young.
It's 50-50 that he may catch it, but he's going to burn that guy.
Of course, Marcellus Rivers, an outstanding tight end his first few seasons here at Oklahoma State. At one time, he was compared to Alonzo Mays. Poguy, straight drop, has some pressure, steps up, he's dangerous. Over the 30, gives the Cowboys a first down. Corey Heineke coming up from that left defensive end spot, the junior out of Edmond, Oklahoma, by way of Northeastern Oklahoma Junior College.
You know, during the spring, they'll time the quarterbacks in 40s, and Poguy will run about 4.7, 4.75. And that doesn't sound like blazing fast, but it's the ability to make that quick decision. He didn't hesitate when he decided to go for it. He went right up the middle. Look at Oklahoma's scoring drive, 99 yards, 11 plays, only 3:51 off the clock.
On 1st and 10, White bounces out to the outside, but Torrance Marshall wraps him up. And we have a penalty flag thrown on the far side. Marshall, the senior out of Miami, Florida.
Run down by number 10, Torrance Marshall.
Second team all Big 12 this year by the coaches. And a penalty will go against the Oklahoma Sooners. First of the football game. You know, Rocky Kelmus gets an awful lot of the publicity. Let's listen in to Tom Ehlers in his call.
Offside on the defense, 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
Rocky Kelmus gets a lot of publicity, and rightly so. Butkus Award finalist, but Torrance Marshall is awfully athletic, and he is going to be playing on Sundays next year.
Well, I think if Torrance Marshall had spent 4 years at Oklahoma, that he would have been in line for a lot of those awards. He's a junior college transfer, came out of Miami-Dade Community College. And he's been everything they expected him to be. He's come in here, he's played, and he's played real well alongside Kelmus.
Boguy keeps it over the 45 up to the 47-yard line. Michael Thompson wrapping him up. Boguy averages just about 3 yards a carry. Tomorrow, we're bringing the tailgate party to you with the NFL This Morning on Fox Sports Net, the most raucous and rockin' Sunday morning pregame show anywhere. This week, Chris Myers, Jay Moore, and the rest of the Breakfast Bunch discuss if Ray Lewis is the best player in the NFL. Jay Moore visits Wayne Charbonnet at Jets practice and a live interview with Vikings coach Dennis Green. The NFL This Morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox Sports Net.
Wait a minute. You just named Chris Meyer and Jay Moore, and you left off all the football players.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Sean Jones, Billy Ray Smith.
I got to say Billy Ray.
Jackie Slater and Coach Marv Levy.
I got to say Jackie
Come
Slater.
on, all the players
coach,
and the coaches, and you're naming the announcers and the comedian. What's happening in this business?
I'm like a puppet, man. They just hand it to me and I read it. Boguy looks up, throws it out of the flat, pass is complete. And hog tied at the 42-yard line. Penalty flag is thrown. Gabe Lindsey on the reception, but Roy Williams came up and just ripped him from behind. LSU will have their second penalty, and it will be a face mask infraction. Now, is it the big face mask or is it the little face mask penalty?
It's the big one. They'll be penalized big on this, but it was a great defensive effort by Oklahoma. They had 3 guys over there sniffing out this screen pass.
And the Sooners again penalized.
Well, don't tell me this is a little one.
I'll be surprised if it is. About took his neck off.
Because the run ended behind the line of scrimmage, it'll be 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
You see the pursuit. You see everybody coming over, and you see that head going back. His head is not supposed to go that way. That happened in a movie a long time ago with Green Pea Soup. Torrance Marshall, you saw him see the motion, and as soon as he saw that motion, he got on his horse and he was getting over there. Roy Williams gets his hand up on the face mask, and Gabe Lindsey gets up and he checks to make sure his head still isn't spinning around.
The OSU offense wants to have sustained drives to keep the OU offense off the field. Reggie White, left side, battling his way down to the 37-yard line. But the OSU offense has lacked consistency this year. They only have 5 drives of plus 10 plays this season. But if they want to keep running the football like they're doing right now, they may be able to have some sustained drives.
And I like what they're doing here. They're going with a quick count. They had 2 plays called in the huddle. They're getting right up to the line of scrimmage and getting on with it.
White, right side, skips over a tackle up to the 30-yard line. Close to a first down. Michael Thompson on the stop. Lewis Field in Stillwater, a sellout crowd of nearly 50,000 on hand in a series that began back in 1904. Been playing continuously since 1906. OU, OSU, along with James and Eric Clemens. I'm Ron Thulin. We are glad you're spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Our final regular season telecast here on Fox Sports Net.
I got to ask you, Ron, you're a semi-native of the state of Oklahoma. When was your first OU-OSU game?
1975. Penalty flag is thrown as OSU should get the first down. And there's been a lot of dandies since then. 1976 when OSU upset OU. The Ice Bowl, I think it was in 85. Pretty good football game back then. OU won it 13-0. 76 was the game I think I remember the most. Terry Miller, Charlie Weatherby. Charlie now the coach at Navy.
Terry Miller drafted by the Buffalo Bills.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down.
Now, one thing Bob Simmons told us yesterday is they can't shoot themselves in the foot at all, especially on plays that mean something like that one did.
Now, that's not what Bob did to himself, is it? With the crunch.
No, it wasn't.
And now this becomes a tough down and distance situation. 3rd and 6. You're going to go up against the nickel backfield for Oklahoma. Try and spread them out. Go with 4 wide receivers. 1 over here. 3 down at the bottom. There's your 3 down at the bottom. Got them spread out just the way you want them.
Poe guy has time, pulls it down. OU collapsing on him, tries to reach forward to the 30, and he is going to be about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 yards short of the first down. Again, Torrance Marshall and Rocky Kalmus on the pursuit.
Got a little too much wind to kick into for a field goal attempt here. Last time you lined up 4th and a long 1, you tried to make them jump off sides. What I would rather do, get up quickly, run your play, because they're still getting set. They're trying to dig in so that they can ground themselves so you can't blow them off the line of scrimmage. Get up there quickly and get this thing run. They're having a little trouble getting it called right now. The play clock is down to 6 seconds. They may have to burn a timeout here.
Boy, you burned 2 timeouts in the first quarter. And Oklahoma State will talk about it. We'll step aside and do some business with the #1 team in the country leading by a touchdown. 2 minutes and 13 seconds left in the opening quarter of the battle between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Verizon presents 1st and 10 all season long on Fox Sports Net College Football Saturday. Verizon, making the world of communications a whole lot simpler.
So you've got no Reggie White in. You have Tim Burrows. Then the next dangerous guy is Jamal Fobbs, #2, the motion man.
Oh, guy looking for the option, has Fobbs trailing. The pitch to Fobbs. They close quickly. They run him out of bounds. No first down. Roy Williams coming up from the strong safety spot to start the impressive defensive performance by the Sooners. And OU will take over. Mike Stoops says his team is playing very sound right now. Case in point right there.
And the tough thing is you've had 2 decent drives for Oklahoma State, but they're drives that have been indicative of their season. They moved the ball but unable to put points on the scoreboard. Now they give it back to Oklahoma.
For the first time since 1987, the Oklahoma Sooners ranked #1 in both polls. They lead in this football game 7-0. Of course, next week, Mark Mangino, offensive coordinator and company, will be taking on Kansas State, the Big 12 championship game in Kansas City. 3 wide receivers to the left. Antoine Savage in motion. Up to the 43-yard line.
4th and 2, I mentioned the guy in the game, Jamal Fobbs, #2. He's going to be the ball handler. They're going to try and run an option. 2 guys out front to make blocks. You try a cut block. Great players don't get cut. Roy Williams comes up, makes the tackle in the backfield. Oklahoma takes over.
Well, you know you're going to have to score at least 24 points on Oklahoma because the fewest points they've scored under Bob Stoops since taking over is 24. Griffin. Oklahoma very content, trying to keep it on the ground, trying to get the first down. Jaquay Thomas on the stop. Slow to get up. Oklahoma's big number 72. Scott Kempenick, senior out of Wagner, Oklahoma. Actually visited Wagner, Oklahoma. No, that was Beaver, Oklahoma, the cow chip throwing contest. And it was one of those 2 cities. I'm not making it up.
Did you win? How far did you throw the chip?
I actually judged it in 1979.
You didn't get hit with any chips, did you?
I didn't know what they were.
I know what they were.
It took me a while. I finally figured it out. First down for the Sooners. Heupel rifles it up to the 50-yard line. Damian Mackey with the reception. And Eric Clemens, we just saw Damian Mackey, but as James talked about a few moments ago, he's got a plethora of receivers to throw to.
Yeah, he does, Ron. And no wonder that Josh Heupel says I don't really have a favorite receiver. Over the last 6 games, that quad of Savage, Norman, Woolfolk, and Fagan have caught 88 passes for 1,349 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's a season for most other teams. That's just the last 6 games for these guys.
Think about it. In 1998, they were 107th in passing. A little different. Josh Heupel again. Pass almost picked off. Right into the hands of Chris Carter, the former defensive back, now linebacker out of El Reno, Oklahoma, right in his hands.
Nice job by Oklahoma State. Recognize you put 3 guys to one side. You're going to try and flood that area. They've seen all these different things on film. They know some of the tendencies, some of the base plays. Oklahoma will throw in some wrinkles in the second half, second quarter even, change things up. They've been pretty basic so far in their offensive attack.
OSU showing 4 on the line, 3rd and 4 for the Sooners. Now they're creeping up. They bring 4. Heupel with time out in the flat. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Andre Woolfolk, the sophomore out of Denver, had it and dropped it. And the Sooners will be forced to kick it away.
You know, there's just enough sun on this field. You see the shadows going in this direction. He's looking back into a little bit of the sun. Always have to try and give an excuse for when a guy drops one that's right in his hands, because these guys do have good hands. They're all converted running backs or quarterbacks from high school, so they're used to touching the football.
Jeff Ferguson kicks it away, looking for Gabe Lindsey, standing at his 10. He's going to let this one sail into the end zone. 50 yards on the kick. Ferguson doesn't like it, but OSU takes over on their own 20. Well, tomorrow on Sunday Night Fights, former WBA super welterweight champion David Reed makes his middleweight debut against WBC International super welterweight champion Carino Garcia in a 10-round middleweight brawl between 2 top 10 contenders. The bell rings tomorrow at 8 o'clock only on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listings. Reed comes in. Pretty solid little hitter, 14-1, 7 knockouts. Of course, he won an Olympic gold medal in the 96 games in Atlanta. So the Sooners, or the Cowboys, taking over. Poe guy has penalty flags all over the place. He might as well take a seat, just don't get hurt. Probably about 3 or 4 holding calls on that, wouldn't you say?
Well, you got 1 flag down near the start of the play, so that's somebody who was lined up incorrectly. You got another one in the backfield. You might have had a little movement. Then you got another in the holding area. So Oklahoma, if it's against Oklahoma State, they're going to have to go through a list about 3 things. You see the holding signal there. See the offensive side, offsides against Oklahoma. So they were lined up in the neutral zone.
Holding on the offense. Offside on the defense. Penalties offset. Repeat the down.
Well, Bob Simmons, I wonder if they can do that with the presidential election, just offset it.
Yeah, but see the tough thing there, the defense is offsides, which then in turns makes the offensive lineman grab that defensive player and hold him. So really what you're trying to do, you're trying to stop that play before it gets started so that you don't make these offensive linemen feel bad. They already have complexes. Everybody's always called them fat their whole life. Now they hold somebody because the guy's offsides, and the coach complains about that.
And we have a whistle as the first quarter comes to an end. The Oklahoma Sooners struck first, but it's because of their defense. Torrance Marshall making a big play. Bob Simmons wants his team to step up, but the Sooners were the only one to put points on the board in the quarter. Since 1950, Oklahoma State has faced 5 teams ranked number 1. They are 0-5. They took on Oklahoma in 74 and 87. Almost beat Nebraska back in 83 and lost right here in Stillwater by the count of 14-10. Right now they trail 7-0. They have the football, and you can see right now OU 115 yards, OSU 72. But at times OSU's running game has looked good. They go with 4 wide receivers. The Sooners creeping up with their defensive backs. Poe guy changing things at the line. OU, nice rush. Pass across the middle, wide open, Marcellus Rivers. Up to the 38-yard line, Torrance Marshall on the coverage. Pickup of 18 on the play, and we have another penalty flag. Poguy had a little zip on that ball.
You have holding what was supposed to have been a quick pass. Poguy read what he thought was going to be a blitz,
right.
Get the ball away quickly. Offensive linemen hold because they think the ball's coming out quickly. They get that guy, they get right in the middle, and then Poguy moves a little to his left. And when he moves to his left, the defensive player moves and the offensive lineman.
On the offense, 10 yards from the previous spot, repeat first down.
Right at the left of your screen, see him. He's knocking him down. He takes him to the ground. That takedown, once you take that man down, unless you cut his legs out, you realize he pulled him down. Guys on top of him, so a pull down there.
Yeah. Well, Kyle Eaton,
the flag.
Yeah, Kyle Eaton, the culprit. OSU has an excellent wrestling team, always going after a national championship. You might want to think about that. Now it is 1st and 20. Just what OSU cannot afford to have happen offensively. 1st and long. Poguy scrambling, has time, looking, has a man. Complete up to the 29-yard line. Willie Young with only his 9th reception of the year. He is a speedster out of Kansas City, Kansas.
And when your quarterback starts to move, the thing you want to do, you want to make eye contact, like you're looking at a pretty girl across the room. You see Poguy with the hand signal saying, hey, move over there. You're standing right behind that guy, can't throw it through him. You move a little bit, I can get to the football.
Well, Del Miller had a great compliment for Aso Poguy. He says at this young age, he is the best quarterback he has ever had in his career. This is a man that spent some time in college football. He's a student of the game. Sets up 2nd and short. Poguy calls his own number, leans forward over the 30 up to the 32-yard line, and that'll be a first down for the Cowboys. Torrance Marshall on the stop.
Gain of 3 and good for a Cowboy. First down and 10.
You know, it's typical of young quarterbacks. They try and get everything out of every play. Also, Poguy doesn't realize he's only a redshirt freshman. He has a lot of years to play. So he's just going to hurl his body in here. Says, Torrance Marshall, sure, I've heard of him, but I can go right over the top of Torrance Marshall. And Poguy's big enough where in high school he used to be able to run over linebackers. Get to this level, sometimes discretion is a little bit better than vaulting over guys.
Well, he's got 20 yards running the football. White has had success in the first quarter, but this time he is going to be stacked up. 2 of the last 3 games, Reggie White's gone over the 100-yard mark. This time, Eric Thundener and Ryan Fisher coming up to make the hit.
Nice job in penetration when we talked to Mike Stoops and Brent Venables yesterday. And I asked him about the defensive line. I said, are these guys kind of reading what's going on? He said, no, they're not reading at all. We get up the field, we try and attack. Guys, sure, they have a gap responsibility, but that doesn't mean you get into that gap and just watch the game. No, you're getting up, you're trying to attack, and that really does free up the linebackers, and the linebackers get the bulk of the tackles behind us. Very, very good but underrated defensive line.
Well, they hustle on every play, that's for sure. Poguy sees some pressure, throws it out, pass is complete, out of the flat to Gabe Lindsey, running room up to the 50-yard line. Ante Jones holding on to him. Gabe Lindsey, younger brother of quarterback Tony Lindsey, who started as the starting quarterback for the Cowboys, only to injure his shoulder. And another first down, OSU.
You're going to see the blitz come off the corner right here. That's going to be picked up by the running back, and then it's one-on-one on the outside. And Gabe Lindsey breaks some tackles right there. This guy gets back up off the ground. Good players. They miss a tackle. They get back up off the ground. And then Ante Jones comes back, number 11, and makes a tackle. Nice run by Gabe Lindsey.
Well, he had a great prep career as a running back. 3-step drop. Poguy in the flat, complete. Down to the 42-yard line, Jamal Fobbs, who last year was the big running back for the Cowboys. Now they've moved Rivers to a wide receiver spot. They also moved Jamal Fobbs from a running back spot to a wide receiver spot because they want Fobbs to be in a position to create big plays.
And they can use Fobbs at wide receiver. You see him going in motion. We saw him on the 4th and 2 where they tried to run the option to him. He's a good enough receiver, but he's stout enough where he can line up in the backfield. He's lined up in the backfield. Right now he's going to shift out. So here's Fobbs. You always have to locate him if you're the defense.
Nothing doing. Rocky Calmus shooting right through the middle to trip up Reggie White.
Everybody talks about playmakers on offense. Your quarterback, the big-time wide receiver, the running back. Well, you get playmakers on defense, and you have Kalmus, Torrance Marshall, Roy Williams. These are the guys who make plays on the opposite side of the field. Rocky Kalmus is closing in on Brian Bosworth's all-time record for tackles for a loss. I think he's one behind him now.
That's right.
That's 38 for his career. Here are the all-first-team Big 12 guys: Heupel, Ryan Fisher, Rocky Kalmus, J.T. Thatcher. They could have put more guys on there, but it becomes a little political after a while.
That's by the coaches. Poguy looks left, looks right, over the middle. Intercepted! J.T. Thatcher with his 8th, still running. The senior out of Norman, Oklahoma, with the pick.
There's our first orange on the football field. That's number 8 on the season for J.T. Thatcher. I have never seen a safety with running skills like Thatcher. 5'11", 225 pounds, and just the athleticism that he runs the ball with. Runs with great power. I was talking to Bob Stoops before the ball game. He said he may not be the fastest guy. Watch that move right there. It's power football from the Sooners.
And he has tied the OU record for interceptions. OU leads 7-0. That is Tony Lindsay, who has been the starting quarterback here for 4 years, off and on because of injuries. They lost him early on in the season, allowing also Poguy to become the starter. This is Poguy's 6th consecutive start, but they missed this young man because he is extremely talented. But ever since his freshman year, he's been dogged by injuries.
Yeah, and he'd like to petition for a 6th season. He's going to graduate in May, but he wants to come back and try and play again.
Now the Sooners, now they run the reverse. Curtis Fagan, running room, 30, 25, down to the 23-yard line.
The rule as a lead blocker on the reverse is you just run. You try and get out of the way. That time Josh Heupel tried to turn into an athlete, tried to break down and block. Well, that guy's running so fast behind you that if you just run, he's going to make the guy in front of you miss, because that defender is going to have to run around you. When Josh Heupel breaks down, Fagans has to break down behind him.
Pickup of 11 in Oklahoma State. Better do something defensively, because this one could get away from them quickly. Heupel on 1st and 10. Says he usually has about 3 or 4 options when he comes to the line. Nothing doing. Good defensive effort by the Oklahoma State defense. Jaquay Thomas on the stop.
Mark Mangino talked about it yesterday. He said, you know, your offensive linemen almost look like they're in the backfield. He said, don't tell the officials. We do line up deep. Our guys have to try and line up deep, because the first thing we want to do is protect the passer. Now, it takes a little bit off the run game, but I still like the guys to line up deep, and don't tell them they're lining up deep either. But you see the center. The ball's here. The offensive linemen, look how deep their butts are. They're back in the backfield.
We're on cable. You can say butt. Heupel. Pass intended for number 3, Josh Norman, and if we were playing in Palm Beach County, that contention would be called a completed pass. Waylon Brown may have got a piece of it. Waylon Brown got a little hand on it, the sophomore out of White House, Texas. He's big at 6'5".
Well, one of the toughest things when you are at the line of scrimmage, you're just mirroring the quarterback. Look, he's going through a little drill there, and he just gets in the line of Josh Heupel and knocks that ball down.
And it's 3rd and 9 for the Sooners. Good defensive stand by the Cowboys. Heupel looking, throwing, incomplete. Overthrown. Intended for Andre Woolfolk. Chris Massey on the coverage. And the Sooners cannot convert. Just what Oklahoma State needed. They needed some type of defensive stand, and they came up with it.
And if Oklahoma at 10-0 has an Achilles heel, it would have to be in the field goal area. Tim Duncan, 10 out of 17 this year, just under 60%. This isn't a long-range kick, but I don't know if it's left-footed kickers that aren't very...
39-yarder. Patrick Fletcher, the holder, and he splits the uprights. His longest was 40 coming into the game, and Tim Duncan adds to his point total on the year. Duncan for 3. Something the San Antonio Spurs would like to say. And the Oklahoma Sooners lead 10-0. College football at Fox Sports Net is brought to you by True Value, where help is just around the corner. Part of the beautiful campus here in Stillwater, Oklahoma State University, the OSU Arboretum. And it is a beautiful day for football. Temperature probably in the high 40s, maybe get up to the low 50s. The 95th meeting between these two teams. Duncan set to kick it away. He is kicking into a very stiff wind. The left footer gets it high. Jamal Fobbs, and they run into each other down at about the 17-yard line. Willie Young ran right into Fobbs, and a bunch of orange jerseys are getting up slowly.
I don't know if that was going to be a reverse or a fake reverse, but it didn't really work out the way that they planned it on Thursday.
That wasn't
a little collision there.
Yeah. Yeah, Willie's going to have to talk about it with the Coach Simmons. Now they take over on about the 17-yard line. 1st and 10, trailing 10-0. Plenty of time here in the second quarter. Gabe Lindsey now moving in as the play is changed. Guy, straight drop, has a man over the middle, doesn't see it, into the flat, almost picked off. Tipped by Roger Steffen, the strong side linebacker, the senior out of El Reno, Oklahoma. And for Bob Stoops, the scoring drive just 11 yards after the interception by J.T. Thatcher. They went 1 minute and 23 seconds. Duncan with a 39-yard field goal. That's why they have the 10-0 lead.
That last play, Guy wanted to go down the middle. J.T. Thatcher plays a true center field. You get some free safeties who like to sneak up near the line of scrimmage, but Thatcher, that's 13 yards right there, and he's going to start backing up a little bit. Well, he creeps up just to mess me up, and he plays deep.
Yeah, they look for Lindsey. The Sooners were not faked out by anything. They had about 5 white jerseys surrounding the football. That was almost an ill-advised pass. Corey Callens was right there.
You know what that tells me? That tells me that the offensive linemen are tipping that play. They come out in their stance. They're a little back in their heels because they're trying to get out in front of the screen, trying to get down the field. You have to have the same stance. Smart teams pick up little tips like that. When you watch film, you watch for the differences that teams may want, not what they do over and over again. But when those guys line up a little different, line up a little deeper, a little wider, then they tip you off to something.
9 yards separated the two teams. 10 points separate the two teams. Guy looking down the middle again. He has some running room. Tries to get up to the 25, reaches forward to the 26-yard line, loses the football, but he is short of the Verizon first down marker. Matt McCoy, redshirt freshman out of Jenks, Oklahoma, coming up to make the stop. Guy's got a little hitch in his get along. That's not something you want to see if you're Bob Simmons.
I think they're putting this down. They're looking at it across the field from our angle, and we're about 200 yards away from him. Looks like he's about a half a foot short.
You can see that from this far up?
Sure.
Oh, you're good.
You can't figure that one out? I mean, that's an easy one.
I'm looking at the monitor and I can't see.
I think Guy, if he'd gone directly up the field, he's big enough where he could have split him that time. He thought he had enough speed to get to the outside, but Oklahoma, you look at everything they do defensively, and it really is based on speed. 6 inches.
You had it. He's got about 4.7 speed, and you may be right. He should have just run straight up the gut.
He makes a quick decision. He goes up the field. Now, if he dips and he goes under number 34, he has a chance to make it. But when he tries to turn the corner on that guy, nothing doing. Matt McCoy just hog ties. I've always wanted to say hog tie.
You did that, yeah. Detonate, right? You haven't said detonate today, though.
I'm not a big detonate guy.
You're not?
Hog tie, that was a good one.
That's good. Now the Cowboys are going to go for it. Bob Simmons, whoever takes over for Coach Simmons, will have talent. He has done an excellent job here at Oklahoma State University. The program is much better off since Bob Simmons took over. But the bottom line, and he told us, he said graduation rates, SAT scores don't mean a whole lot. You got to win football games. 4th down and about a foot. Straight ahead, the Sooners stack them up, but that should be good enough for a first down.
Yeah, the line judge on this side is coming in well in front of where the first down marker was.
Good for a Cowboy. First down and 10.
The surge up front.
Get enough push from the offensive line right in the middle. John Vandrell, Brian Phillips, Jeff Mikado, and then even the tackles, Josh Lind and Kyle Eaton, they have to secure the outside so those guys can't pinch down and get the quarterback.
First and 10. They keep it on the ground again, try on the right side, and the Sooners are going to stack them up after a pickup of about 2. 3 straight opponents by the Sooners have failed to reach the 100-yard rushing mark as a team. But Oklahoma State showing a little bit of success. Tomorrow on America's favorite pregame show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris are joined by weather girl Jillian Barbary, who tells you where it's hot and where it's not. Plus, Jimmy Kimmel makes his pick and gets in his licks on the guys. It's all part of the wildest NFL pregame show on TV, Fox NFL Sunday, tomorrow at noon Eastern Pacific.
So you have
9 a.m. Pacific going on.
You have a weather man, a weather girl. How about weather boy? Would that be like a superhero?
Somewhere in this country. Oh, guy runs the option. Oh,
that wasn't an option. That was, I don't want to get hit. You take it.
That will dimple your Chad.
Option pitch to number 11, Gabe Lindsey. Brought down by number 2, Derek Strait. Also a couple.
That's called a hit by Derek Strait.
You know, when I was doing my stats for the ball game and I got to Derek Strait, number 2, put down 4 tackles for a loss, which is a lot for a quarterback. And that's number 5 right there. That shows that he's not afraid to play the run, penetrates very well, comes up, and he covers well down the field too. Sometimes you think of a guy as a good run stopper, he doesn't play good pass coverage. He does both very well.
Teams are not very successful third and long against the Sooners. Pull guy, looking, throwing to no one in particular. Incomplete pass, and the Cowboys are going to be forced to kick it away.
And that's tough right there. You have 3 receivers. They're all to one side of the field. So what you've done now, you said, okay, we'll send 3 guys out and try and get them open in one area. I would want to spread the field, use the whole width of the field. You had all 3 guys clumped on one side, trying to hope that someone could break free.
Scott Elder standing back at his own 16-yard line. J.T. Thatcher back for the Sooners. Thatcher has already run back 2 punts for touchdowns this year. He is 9th in the NCAA in punt returns. Line drive, looking into the sun. Thatcher gets his feet, breaks up the middle. Tries the right side. Penalty flag is thrown as he dances up to the 42-yard line. 43-yard kick. 15 on the return, but it probably will go back a little bit further.
44 yards on the
Thatcher runs right past 3 guys running wide open at him. Doesn't even hesitate. Going to push in the back.
What makes Thatcher so interesting of a character, he's a hometown product from Norman. Came to OU as a running back, went to quarterback for a short stint.
Push in the back, on the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
And he returned to running back, then receiver, finally moved to defense. Of course, we've already saw him get his 8th interception of the year, which ties him with Ricky Dixon back in '87 and Scott Case back in '83 for most interceptions in a season. But he is rounded out to be one of the best for the Sooners. Now we've got a timeout, 7-11. It is a lucky number, but is the lucky number for the Sooners a win today over the Cowboys? We'll be back. 10-0 our score, 7-10 remaining in quarter number 2. Eric Clemens, James Lofton, Ron Thulin at Lewis Field in Stillwater. The Sooners keeping it on the ground. Griffin spinning away. What a run by the youngster up to the 37-yard line. Here is a guy that nobody really wanted when he was in high school. Bobby Jack Wright was hired as an assistant coach at OU. They said, go recruit Texas. There was nobody left. But Quentin Griffin's high school coach says, I've got a guy that's tiny, but you may want him. And because of Quentin Griffin and his 16 this year, their touchdown 31 on the ground, most since 1991. Second down, Heupel, the shovel pass, a lot of running room again for Quentin Griffin. Chris Carter makes the saving tackle.
It almost looks like there is a lag time with Oklahoma State reacting to this. But actually, they're just being blocked well. Everyone is on their man, and Quentin Griffin is so quick. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't even have to look around. He knows the defense. He knows where his help is supposed to be. And you see the Verizon 1st and 10 line there. Nice yellow line. How come that doesn't come off on the players' uniforms?
Straight ahead running. Griffin again. Dwayne Levels, the junior out of Richardson, Texas, who leads the Oklahoma State Cowboys in tackles on the stop.
Brought down by 47, Dwayne Levels.
Second down and 8. Sooners go with 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the top of your screen. The crowd here has not been a factor. Not a whole lot to cheer about if you're wearing orange. Heupel sees the pressure into the flat, complete. Pickup of about 3 on a play. Antoine Savage has at least 1 reception in the last 16 straight games for the Cowboys. That's his first today. You know, you talk about Josh Heupel. We've heard all the stories, how he started out at Weber State, went to Snow Junior College, almost went to Utah State. And look what he's done in just 2 years. 23 school records, 21 Big 12 records.
Now, the Big 12 records are impressive. Oklahoma has never had passers, so that's not a big deal. Josh Heupel even said that. But to break conference records in a conference where they've thrown the ball pretty well from time to time.
Oklahoma State blitzes. Heupel this time.
That ball was thrown back.
That was behind him.
I thought that ball was thrown back.
I think you're right.
But you know what? When you're number 1, you get the benefit of the doubt now and then.
Now, that was the first offensive series that the Sooners did not look all that effective.
That's Josh Heupel step up. He's going to throw this ball. There he is right there. This ball is going to travel in this direction. Back to Luttrell, number 35. The ball goes backwards. See Luttrell reach backwards for that football?
That was dangerous. And again, Ferguson will have to kick it away for the Sooners. Good snap, high, spirally kick into the wind. Gabe Lindsey's going to let it stop. Takes a divot at the 5-yard line, and that's where Oklahoma State will take over. 40 yards on the kick. Pretty good effort into the wind as we take a look at the Big 12 South standings. Of course, the Sooners have already wrapped it up. What a win by Texas yesterday over A&M. Chris Sims, great job at quarterback. Mike Leach did a nice job at Texas Tech this season. They should go bowling. Oklahoma State, Baylor rounding out the South. Mack Brown has to be extremely happy with his squad yesterday. Sellout crowd at Memorial Stadium in Austin, and they put a whooping on R.C. Slocum's guys.
I think Mack Brown, though, has a big question mark about what he does at quarterback next year, and even in the bowl game. Major Applewhite getting healthy again. But Chris Sims looked awfully good yesterday. 234 yards in the 3rd quarter.
Oklahoma State trying to do something on the ground. Nothing doing. Reggie White tripped up by Rocky Calmus again. This holiday season, tune to Fox Sports for the best of the new and old college football bowl games. First on New Year's Eve, turn to Fox Sports Net for the inaugural Silicon Valley Football Classic. Then on New Year's Day, the 65th Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic continues its storied tradition on Fox Sports as the teams from the Big 12 and the SEC collide. Ring in the new year with exciting college football bowl action on Fox Sports Net and your local Fox affiliate. Guy hands it off straight up the middle, and again the Sooners stuck the run, and again it is number 20, joined by number 10. Boy, these guys seem to have gotten stronger from that first 2 series by the Cowboys.
Yeah, how good are Rocky Calmo and Torrance Marshall? Well, I think they're the best in the conference. You line up 2 guys who could have been all-conference, who could be all-American, all this, all that, but they come to play each and every week. They haven't been injured. They've been in the ball game. We're talking about career tackles for a loss. Rocky Calmus passing Brian Bosworth. Now all he has to do is go out and get his hair cut, colored, and dyed, and you can match him up.
Now 3rd down and long again for the Cowboys. Watch the Sooners secondary. Guy back, scrambling. He is hit. He throws it away, and that's going to be intentional grounding.
And that's going to be a safety.
Flag down on the play.
Well, the redshirt freshman just learned a very valuable lesson in quarterbacking college football. That Sooner defense is just relentless when they're putting pressure on the quarterback.
See Rocky Kalmus coming, pressure on the outside, and when he spins back around is when he's able to make the play.
And he's working on a guy that's 315 pounds, 6'6".
Yeah, but the key word is working. He didn't give up and just get kicked around the corner. Continues to work, and that's that spin move back to the inside that makes the play.
Well, December 8th in Orlando, Florida, maybe that young man will be the Butkus Award winner.
The quarterback was in the end zone at the time the ball was released. We had intentional grounding, therefore a safety by rule.
And the Sooners now up their lead to 12-0 with 3:10 remaining in the first half. And the Butkus Award, you and I get a chance to go down to Orlando, put on the monkey suits, and host that award. More importantly, play golf.
Your
Take
monkey
your money.
suit has fur on it?
I gotta find one.
You push along the way.
Just help me tie my bow tie, all right?
I could do that. Poor guy looks like he's got a little limp to him, though, James.
Well, he's been knocked around a lot. He's had to run the ball. He ran the ball effectively early on, but the pressure is starting to get to him. And what it is Oklahoma just comes at you in waves. The defensive line comes, then the linebackers, and he's tried to run. He's tried to make things happen with his feet because he hasn't always had guys open down the field so he can use his arm. But 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go, you have to turn the ball back over to an offense that's averaging
450 yards a game, and
almost 43 points a ball game. So they're behind their scoring clip. I'm pretty sure they want to make up for it before this half is over.
Well, one thing OSU wanted to do is come out with a lot of emotion. We haven't seen it since that first series. Well, they put it away instead of kicking away following the safety, so OU will get great field position again. JT Thatcher crosses the 40 up to the 45-yard line. Coming up at halftime, the Nissan Halftime Report. Eric will be on the field, give you all the update on all the scores from around college football today. Plus, we'll send it out to Kevin Frazier, Kellen Winslow, and Artie Gigantino out of Oklahoma. And the BCS plus first half stats and highlights, all coming up on the Nissan Halftime Report.
I think the only thing about the BCS, Oklahoma moves on. They play Kansas State next week in the Big 12 championship game. A one-point victory is enough for Oklahoma to remain number one in that ballgame.
I think you're absolutely right, and they should. Heupel, plenty of time right over the middle. Josh Norman, his first reception. And he crosses the 50 down into Oklahoma State territory. The BCS and, of course, Miami. They may have a legitimate beef beating Florida State, but they're behind Florida State. Washington, Oregon State, Virginia Tech rounding out the top six.
And Nebraska survived a scare. 3 Big 12 teams in there in Nebraska. Almost upset by Colorado.
Josh Brown, the last-second field goal, wins it for the Huskers yesterday. Well, this time Josh Heupel's pass almost picked off again, trying to get it into the hands of Quentin Griffin. That's swatted away.
The one thing that Oklahoma State has not allowed so far is the deep pass down the field. Josh Heupel's throwing into a little bit of a headwind. They've run the ball exceptionally well. They've dumped it off to Quentin Griffin. They've had the receivers underneath, but they have not gone up top.
Third down and 3.
Third down, we'll call it about 2 for the Sooners, with 2:23 to play in the half. Now Heupel back to the shotgun. OSU brings 5. Heupel, the quick looking pass to Josh Norman, complete, and that will be a first down for the Sooners. Josh Norman, the junior out of Midland, Texas, Lee High School, whose brother John Norman plays for Texas Tech, is an excellent secondary player.
I asked Josh about when his brother hit him a couple weeks ago. I said, "Did your mom get mad at your brother?"
Last
no,
week.
not really. So it was okay. He didn't hit me real hard.
John could lower the boom, too. He is a fine player for Mike Leach. Now the Sooners just about 41 yards better than Oklahoma State here in the first half. Heupel, plenty of time, pulls it down, lets it fly. He's going to be picked off. At the 40-yard line, Josh Heupel is intercepted. Chris Carter with the interception, his first of the year.
You preach it to kids the first time they play Pop Warner football, they get to high school, college, even in the pros, You don't throw the ball late down the middle. See the eyes of the defenders. They're dropping back into pass coverage. And Josh Heupel pumps, and then he's throwing it off that back foot. He's been successful doing that. But Chris Carter, number 1, is standing right there in the field. That ball has no zip on it, and it's just a floater. Sometimes you're going to get lucky with that, but most of the time you're not. Josh Heupel, his 10th interception of the season.
That's his 5th interception in the last 3 games, and he only had 5 in the previous 8. Now Pogai, he's looking across the middle, and he's intercepted. Torrance Marshall, running room. Ball pulled out, rolling around, and I think Oklahoma still has it. Torrance Marshall with his 2nd interception. Of course, his first was against A&M that won it.
Torrance Marshall, fumble on the play.
Boy, oh boy.
Also, Pogai had Jamal Fobbs down the middle. Doesn't get enough height on the ball to get it over Torrance Marshall. Torrance Marshall can run after the catch. We saw that a couple weeks ago. See that ball coming in flat? Fobbs, if he throws that ball deep, he's going to get it. Gabe Lindsey, I think, number 11, comes up and pokes this out, and that's just pure hustle, trying to make a play. Good job by Lindsey getting that ball out.
That's right. But the Sooners still with great field position. They take over at the 32-yard line. And that is the Cowboys' 2nd turnover of the football game.
First down and 10 for Oklahoma.
This is where Heupel's dangerous, but he keeps it on the ground. We have whistles and penalty flags before that play developed.
22 Griffin on the carry. Flag down on that play.
Now the Sooners
Ball
average.
start on the offense, prior to the snap. Repeat first down.
They got to talk about the fact OSU has not played well offensively, but their defense has, because OU is a team that averages about 28 points in the first half. Their defense gets extremely strong in the second half. They've only allowed 60 points, but if you're OSU, you're thinking you're pretty good right now, only trailing 12-0, but you still have to get some type of offensive production.
Yeah, Josh Heupel, when he comes up to that line of scrimmage, you're going to see him look each and every direction. He's checking out the front. He checks out the coverage, tries to get his team into the proper play.
And they try the left side with Antoine Savage, sophomore out of Albany, Georgia.
You would think with under a minute and a half to go that they'd be in a hurry-up mode. They have 3 timeouts. Bob Stoops yesterday said, you know, I'd like to end the first half with 1 timeout. So they're going to use their time wisely here. Maybe take a couple of shots at the end zone. They need to do it quickly because you just can't expect to march down the field. And they have not, as I said earlier, gone up on top. You got one-on-one coverage on the bottom on this side. That's where they might want to go.
3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Heupel looking over the middle, has a man, and it is almost picked off again. Dwayne Levels tipped it. Chris Massey almost picked it.
Well, they're only using 2 guys to rush the passer. So it's simple math. You use 2 guys to come after the quarterback, and you even have 1 guy at the line of scrimmage that's kind of a middle spy jumper. There are going to be tons of guys in coverage. You're sending 3 and 4 receivers out, and you've got 8 and 9 players to cover them. This is a nice change of pace by Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator. Mark Mangio's thinking, you know, there's nowhere to throw the football. He understands what Josh Heupel's going to. 10 out of 19, uncharacteristic numbers for a guy who completes 67% of his passes.
54 seconds left for the Sooners to operate. 3rd and 11 from the OSU 32.5-yard line. Heupel, 2 wide receivers to the right. He rolls right. Shuffles it right in the middle. Running room for Curtis Fagan. And he has an Oklahoma first down. And OU wants a timeout. OU is so efficient at running this play.
Well, the shovel pass works because you make the defense come to you. Josh Heupel is going to head this way, and he's going to make the pressure come up the field. You create lanes just like you would on a running play. See the lane for the receiver to run up? There it is. And you also get blocking down the field early because that ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage in college football. Throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage, you're allowed to block down the field early.
Well, Antoine Savage is down on the far side of the field for the Oklahoma Sooners. Scott Anderson, the trainer of OU, looking at him. We'll try to get an update as soon as it becomes available to us. one of OU's talented young receivers. You look at Fagan, a sophomore, Savage, a sophomore, Woolfolk, a sophomore, Norman, a junior. You throw in a lot of the other guys like Quentin Griffin, who also makes some catches. These guys are still a young football team, and I think people forget that.
Don't forget Damian Mackey, number 13. He came out of California. He came almost in a package deal. He and Roy Williams went to the same high school, James Logan, out in Union City, California. Came out here on this trip together, and you see Mackey trotting out on the football field. Mackey has 20 receptions and plays behind Josh Norman in a kind of a H position.
Only 10 seniors really involved in this game for Oklahoma today. Heupel keeps it, tucks it, runs it down to the 15, and he is wrapped up at about the 14-yard line by Terrence Robinson, the sophomore linebacker out of Tyler, Texas. Well, Terrence Robinson wants to be a doctor, and he put a hurt that he may have to look at on Josh Heupel, and OU's going to burn another timeout. Of course, the big talk right now is whether or not Josh Heupel will get the Heisman Trophy. He is one of the favorites, obviously, along with Chris Weinke of Florida State. But Bob Stoops likes his quarterback, thinks he should win it.
I think all of our players and coaches would all feel a part of it, and I know Josh feels that way. And I've been around some teams. I've been with Florida when Danny Werfel won it, and I think everybody involved in the program felt a piece of it. And though it's given to an individual, it says a lot about the team as well.
I think that Bob Stoops hit it right on the head, because the Heisman Trophy winners that I've known and I've played with, Bo Jackson, Tim Brown, even Jim Plunkett, they talk about the fact that, yeah, we won it as a team, and when you meet their teammates who aren't in professional football, who are out in the business world, they remember that guy winning that award. That guy right there, that's Crazy George. Crazy George, and he used to be a professor at San Jose State, hired by the Chiefs. He works for the Minnesota Vikings, and he's in town for this ball game, so Crazy George gets around a little bit.
How about Bill Snyder after the Kansas State game saying that Josh Heupel borders on superhuman? That kind of sums it up. Swing it out, Fagan, left side, and he pays for that. Takes a couple of hits at the 15-yard line, no gain on the play. That'll be a third down and about 5 with 24 seconds to play, and Oklahoma burns their last time out. Are you surprised they're burning the last time out now instead of trying to run one more play and then maybe kick the field goal?
Well, no, I'm not a little bit surprised by it. It's second down. You're moving to third down, so you take your shot at the end zone here. And then you come on fourth down. If you don't make it and you kick the field goal, you have an incomplete pass. You do not throw the ball in the field of play and try and hustle your guys out there. This play will take about 8 seconds to run. The ball will get spotted immediately if you don't get the first down. There's Simmons out there on his crutch, working the official. Probably told the official, if you don't call it right, I'm going to hit you with this crutch. But Bob Simmons would never do that. But still, you work that official. Talking the offensive linemen, they're holding our guys. They're off the line of scrimmage. You got to throw the flag. I don't care if it is 26 seconds. You still call the game the same way. They're holding my defensive ends. They're leg whipping us. So Bob Simmons just worked the officials over there. He gave them every possible call that he could make in hopes that he will make one of them.
Yeah, let's see what OU does. Leading 12-0, 24 seconds left to play in the ball game. Heupel comes in, 2 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right.
And Quentin Griffin in the backfield.
OSU rushes 5. Heupel plenty of time. Pass tipped, intercepted again. Albert Craig, the redshirt freshman out of Millwood High School, tipped by Dwayne Levels. Craig with his 3rd of the year. And Josh Heupel, for the 3rd consecutive game, having some problems with interceptions.
So much of it has to be credited to Mike Cassidy, defensive coordinator. You're going to see a little bit of pressure up front. They bring 5 guys and people up in the face, and Dwayne Levels, the middle linebacker. Middle linebackers, normally you play against a passing team, they're almost extinct because everybody wants to put in those defensive backs. But middle linebackers have that ball instinct. That time he followed Heupel's eyes. He got a hand on the ball. And the result is an interception, and it keeps Oklahoma off the scoreboard.
This is a defense that Bob Stoops' offense is going against. That's 110th in the NCAA in pass defense. But Josh Heupel's been thwarted this afternoon by him. And also Pogai is just going to take a knee. And they just want to go into the locker room leading or trailing 12-0. The Oklahoma Sooners not as efficient as we've seen in the past offensively, but credit has to go to that Oklahoma State defense, James.
Yeah, it's been a physical first half. A lot of hitting, a lot of guys who are limping into halftime.
And here's Eric Clemens with Bob Stoops.
All right, Coach, halftime the offense has struggled a little bit, but your defense has come up big. Your assessment here in the first half?
Just that offensively, we got to take care of the football. We're just we just made too many turnovers to put the ball in the end zone. Defensively, we played extremely well, have come up with a number of big plays. We just got to take care of the football. We got to go run the football a little bit more and take what they're giving us. We're trying to force it downfield too much.
All right, Coach, good luck to you in the second half. Thanks. All right, Coach Bob Stoops, his team up 12-0 here at the half here at Lewis Field. Time for our Nissan halftime report. We'll return here to Lewis Field in Stillwater in just a few moments.
The sun beginning to set in Stillwater, Oklahoma, on the only east-west facing stadium in college football, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys trailing Oklahoma 12-0. Eric Clemens, you just spent some time with Coach Bob Simmons of OSU. His thoughts obviously probably turned to getting his offense going.
Absolutely, Ron. He definitely wants to get the offense going. He wants his defense to keep it up. They've created opportunities for their offense all game long, but the offense has not made one single big play, and he says it's the difference in the ball game. They need some big plays here in the second half, and it all starts with Aso Pogai at quarterback, guys.
Now, this is an OU defense that has only allowed 60 total points in the second half, so Bob Simmons knows his troops have their hands full.
I think for Pogai, a guy who's only a redshirt freshman, this is a huge ball game. Facing Oklahoma, you have an outgoing coach. You're playing against the #1 team in the country. They've had some opportunities, and they really do need to take advantage of the shots that they get in the second half.
Eric Clemens, you've got a quick injury update for us. Now we're having some audio problems. We'll have an injury update on Antoine Savage of Oklahoma in just a moment. OSU will kick off the second half. OU will receive. Rush Schwetman will kick it off for the Cowboys. Capacity crowd of just about 50,000, sun setting, and right now OU will be looking right up into the sun to receive this kick. Beautiful day for football in Stillwater as OU trying to finish out at a perfect 11-0 as they head to the Big 12 championship game next week, as Artie, Kellen, and Kevin were talking about in our halftime report. 1st and 10 for the Sooners. They'll begin on their own 20-yard line. Well, Josh Heupel likes to mix up his passes where he's throwing. This is what he's done in the first half.
Those running backs, that would be in the manner of Quentin Griffin. That's his target when he's looking at the running backs, the wide receivers 8. But really, he needs to challenge them down the field. Wide receivers, 8 catches, only 50 yards. That's not enough to scare a defense.
He appeared at times as though he was forcing the ball in situations. And I'm not so sure that he's not even thinking about the Heisman Trophy. He's just thinking about winning football games right now as they keep it on the ground. And OU's possessions in that first 30 minutes. Of course, that first drive covered 99 yards. It was very impressive. They punted, then they kicked the field goal. Then things got ugly for them.
Yeah, right there at the bottom. Those interceptions when they were down in scoring position, very uncharacteristic of a team that's #1 in the country.
You see the Sooners starting to run the football a lot more here in this football game than they have in the past, but that running the football has allowed their offense to be much more consistent. Griffin tripped up as he gets up to about the 24-yard line. Dwayne Levels, who won his team's Defensive Player of the Year at the senior banquet held on Thursday night. And that was an emotional night for Coach Bob Simmons of Oklahoma State. Usually they have it after the season, but he says the last 3 weeks he's tried to keep a low key, but when this game is over, he wants to just make a clean cut. But he said Thursday night's senior banquet, quite emotional for his squad. 3rd down for the Sooners, just about 6. Heupel looks for Gritton in the flat and swatted down. OSU is all over that. Zach Aiken, the senior out of Putnam North High School in Oklahoma City. Also, Terrence Robinson got a piece of it.
A nice job by Oklahoma State. Just him coming off the edges, both outside linebackers, and jumping and getting in the lanes. But Josh Heupel, that pass was going to be behind the line of scrimmage. Quentin Griffin would have to make someone miss and then pick up the first down.
And the Sooners forced a punt on their first possession. Another excellent job by the Cowboy defense. OSU looks like they're coming after this. Good snap, good protection, a low spiraling kick. Lindsey at the 30. Skips out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. 45 yards on the kick, 7 yards on the return. And the Cowboys will take over 1st and 10. How important is this first offensive possession for Aso Pogai as far as a confidence standpoint?
It's vital because, number one, you have the ball in great field position, 38-yard line, a chance to move it down and get in scoring position. And you looked at this Oklahoma offense when they came out 3 and out. You don't see that very often. Now your chance to counterpunch.
One of the things that Del Miller, the offensive coordinator, said he needs a short field to be successful. He's got a short field now. They keep it on the ground. Straight ahead running, Reggie White. He is wrapped up by Corey Heineke. And for the Cowboys, the first half possessions, they've had 2 punts. You throw a couple of interceptions in there, a safety, and a loss of downs.
Yeah, but early on they had some success, 40 yards, 47, 35, and then it kind of went downhill after that.
One of the problems with this OSU offense, they don't create a lot of big plays, do they?
Well, you don't have a great speed player. Jamal Fobbs, we talked about him, number 2 in the slot right now. He's a good player, played running back, has good skills. They don't have a guy who can just burn it down the field.
Tatum Bell, the true freshman out of DeSoto, Texas, with his first carry, and he breaks forward for a Cowboy first down. The young, talented back averages just about 4 yards a carry, picks up 11 on that.
And he's got good playing time. Tatum Bell, a guy you mentioned, DeSoto High School, and they have a number of good backs who are coming out of there. Byron Hanspar, you remember him from Texas Tech. They have a kid right now named Hobbs coming out of there, and Hobbs is going to be a good one just like Tatum Bell.
Well, the Cowboys, 1st and 10, they keep it on the ground. This time, Tatum Bell, or nothing doing, Torrance Marshall stacks him up. But really, when Aso Pogai took over for Tony Lindsey at quarterback, this OSU offense really began to evolve. And really, Del Miller had to change the offense somewhat to fit this young man's skills.
Yeah, I think you look at his strong arm and his ability to stand tall in the pocket and get things done. But Aso Pogai has impressed his coaching staff with his dedication. I think he's really impressed Del Miller with his ability to run the football also.
Pogai looking for a little go pattern, has a man, and he overthrows him.
See, now that could be a flag right there. That ball's overthrown.
Rashawn Woods, the intended receiver.
You get Ante Jones coming in there laying on a big hit right at the tail end of the play. So that ball's overthrown out of bounds, and then you get the wide receiver just level.
And that's dangerous here at Lewis Field. The sideline very close to the wall. You don't have a whole lot of running room. And it'll be 3rd down and long. You can see just how close it is. I remember a couple of years ago.
That's just a few yards from there to there. And if it were wet, you could easily slide into that when you're running in that direction.
We saw Alonzo Mays do it a few years ago here. Only 33% for the Cowboys on 3rd down, and they're facing 3rd and long. And like they did in the opening quarter, they have to burn a timeout early. We've played just about 3 minutes in the 3rd, and OU leads by a dozen.
During the break, Josh Heupel and Jonathan Hayes right here, his coach, the tight end coach. He's throwing some balls into the net. I don't know if he's trying to see if he has a zip in his arm.
Now they're checking something out. Mark Mangino, the offensive coordinator, coming out, but it's 3rd down and 10 for the Cowboys. OU rushes 4. Pogai steps up, starts to run it, and he is going to be dropped after a pickup of 2. Ramon Richardson, the senior out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, with the tackle.
Quarterbacks, when they start to move in the pocket, they have to have the ability to still look down the field. You're going to see a late breaking wide receiver come open. Right there, this receiver is going to break open. Pogai's here. If he just launches that ball down the field, you would have a big completion.
And the Cowboys forced to kick it away. J.T. Thatcher at his 10-yard line, one of 11 punt returners in college football that has returned 2 or more for a touchdown. It's a little pooch kick. Thatcher signals the fair catch, lets it go. And again, OU will be backed up inside the 5. 42 yards on the kick, none on the return. And OU's first possession in the first half, they were on the 1-yard line. Now they're backed up down to about the 3. Good job by Scott Elder, the punter. The Bedlam Series of football. The #1 Sooners have the advantage.
We're back here in Stillwater, Oklahoma at Lewis Field, where they have a different kind of turf similar to what they have at the University of Nebraska. Not as hard as a grass field, and of course not as hard as regular AstroTurf. This field-type turf with the sand and rubber in the bottom of it has resulted in a lot of pooch kicks in this game. There's one inside the 5-yard line, guys.
Absolutely, Eric. Astro Play Turf, they call it. It is exceptional in wet weather. Heupel with a little shovel pass. Again, it is successful. Quentin Griffin breaks his way over the 10 up to the 13-yard line. Zach Warner out of Putnam City West High School on the stop. That is the poise that Josh Heupel has shown all year.
Yeah, good poise, being able to hold the ball, but I'm wondering if this is a mini Achilles heel of this Oklahoma offense. You drop enough guys back in coverage, you shadow Josh Heupel in the middle, and you thwart his ability to throw the ball down the field. And you make them earn their way down the field, dumping it to Quentin Griffin and making Quentin Griffin run against you. I need to stretch the field vertically, get something going deep to really challenge the defense.
Well, now they have 4 wide receivers. Heupel keeps it up over the 15, up to the 18-yard line, and that'll be a first down for the Sooners. He's showing he can do it all. The first OU quarterback in their history to throw for over 3,000 yards in 2 seasons. Numerous records, #1 in the NCAA in completion percentage. But this is a young man who has grown a great deal over the last year. #1, he committed to the weight room. And #2, he's worked on his body, worked on films. He's done everything the coaches have wanted him to do. Two wide receivers left, 1 right. Heupel looking to throw, has a man, incomplete. Intended for Curtis Fagan, who already has a touchdown pass today. Well, we have an update on Antoine Savage, the sophomore out of Albany, Georgia, of the Sooners, wide receiver, hurt in the first half. And the update is, Oklahoma's policy is they don't tell us what their injury is. So we apologize for that, but that's the policy, and we know he has not returned as of yet. Second down and 10 for the Sooners. Heupel hands it off. Griffin over the 20 up to the 24-yard line. Chris Carter on the stop, the senior out of El Reno, Oklahoma, who's the nephew of Joe Carter of the Toronto Blue Jays. Great World Series back in '93, if my memory serves me right. Lives in Kansas City now, and he's actually a graduate of Millwood High School in Oklahoma City. Actually, he was a good football player, too, back then. See, Joe, if you're listening, I remember that. 3rd down and 5 for the Sooners. OSU with 8 on the line. Now they back off a couple. They bring 5. Heupel, pressure, throws, incomplete. Great pressure by Chris Carter. Coming from that weak linebacker spot, the former defensive back who redshirted last year put the pressure on Heupel.
And you talk about being a former defensive back. He has the ability to loop around. He avoids the block of Quentin Griffin and makes Josh Heupel throw before he's ready and off target.
Set for the Cowboy return.
The Oklahoma offense not operating on all cylinders. This is the 3rd consecutive game for them. And again, OU set to kick it away. Ferguson at his 8-yard line. Good snap. Very little pressure. The line drive kick. Lindsey from his 40. And he is going to be dumped immediately. Not much running room for Lindsey. Ante Jones right there to wrap him up. 37 yards on the kick. He lost 1 on the return. And the Cowboys will take over 1st and 10, and we have a penalty flag thrown. Here it is again. That's called a good open field tackle, James. Well, I think they may have picked it up. There is no penalty flag. It's been picked up.
Oklahoma State comes directly off the sideline. You make Oklahoma put 12 defensive guys out, then run the guy off that they don't need. Try and match up against this 4 wide receiver set.
Kalmus and Marshall moving up on the line. On 1st and 10, OU brings 5. Throw it on the flat pass. Incomplete. Marcellus Rivers had it and lost it. Roy Williams right there to strip the ball away from him.
Last year, Roy Williams in 1999, he was a freshman All-American, and that is how you would teach it textbook-wise. Those receivers' hands go up, you come down, you strip across the hands, you get the ball out. Roy Williams, freshman All-American last year. Before his career is over, he'll be a real All-American, big guy All-American.
Boy, that's the kind of plays, though, if you're OSU, you must make. 3 wide receivers to the left. Guy calls his own number, gets up to the 40, maybe picked up 2 on the play. But going back to that Rivers play, when your margin of error, and we talked to Bob Simmons about it yesterday, your margin of error is so slim. When you have an opportunity to make a big play like that and you don't, you're pretty much shooting yourself in the foot.
And the one thing that Marcellus Rivers could have done on that play, could have squeezed a little more room to the inside to allow the ball flight of Guy to take it to the outside. That way, the ball was then away from the defender.
Now this OSU offense has struggled in second half of football games this year. They only averaged 7 points due to the youth of this team. Guy looking things over again, 3rd and long. OU on the blitz. Whips it out. White dances free, dives forward. They totally stepped out at the 46.
Stepped out.
He would have had the first down, could not tippy-toe down the line. And he comes up limping.
He was right along the boundary, made a nice move to make the first tackler miss, but he just can't stay in bounds. And once again, number 2, Derek Strait coming out, and he gets pushed in the back. There you see the foot out of bounds right there on the marker. Good call by the officiating crew.
Fans didn't like it. Haven't had much to cheer about here at Lewis Field if they're an Oklahoma State fan. And again, Scott Elder will kick it away. He's done a nice job today.
You got the spread look. They may want to try and a fake if they have one out of this look.
The snap, the kick. Wobbly kick, fair catch called at the 17-yard line. No chance for a run back for J.T. Thatcher. And we remain at 12-0. After Josh Heupel, are you getting a little frustrated maybe at this point?
I think if you are the wide receivers, Curtis Fagan, Andre Woolfolk, Damian Mackey, Josh Norman, you're the ones getting frustrated. But Josh Heupel has been the player who's carried this team so far. You see the numbers, 13 out of 27, under 50%, 2 interceptions, and really, they were effective that first drive and that first drive alone.
22 straight games. He has completed better than 50% of his passes, and that's on the line right now. 1st and 10 from their own 17-yard line. They keep it on the ground. Griffin, big hole. First down, Oklahoma up to the 34-yard line. What an explosive run by the young sophomore.
You know what? It is very tempting as a quarterback to want to come out and sling it around, but you must take what the defense gives you that time. Josh Heupel audibilizing to a run. You saw the receiver shift out. Josh Heupel playing with his head, not just with his heart.
Plus 17 on the carry. He'll try it again. Griffin dancing around. Heupel throws a block. Griffin cuts back. Picks up a hard-earned 4 yards, but how about Josh Heupel throwing a block?
Yeah, but now Josh Heupel has to say to himself, okay, call to run, back-to-back. They've been able to defense it. They're up. They're cheating up. Why not play action, bootleg outside, pop it to one of my wide receivers, and let them get away from the traffic and run? Because all these receivers have good running skills. Woolfolk, Norman, Fagan, these guys can run after the catch, get the ball in their hands. A short pass, long run is just as good as throwing it deep.
2nd down and 6. 8 minutes gone by here in the 3rd. Again, the pass is knocked down, almost intercepted again. OSU, textbook, keeping their hands up on passes.
Yeah, Dwayne Levels, number 47. This ball gets bounced around like a little pinball. But you're right. They're at the line of scrimmage. They're getting the hands up. They're in the pass lanes because it's short passing. It's not passing that's arcing over the defensive lineman. He's trying to hit in that 8 to 10 yard range down the field. When you do that, the ball's coming out flat. You see Josh Heupel trying to get it up over him, but just not enough air under the ball.
Well, OU does operate out of sort of a mini field, just like Texas Tech does. And now they face third down. We'll call it 6. OSU rushing 5. Heupel steps up. And he is going to be tripped up from behind right at the line of scrimmage, maybe picked up a yard. Excellent defense again by the Cowboys of Oklahoma State.
Nice job by Dwayne Levels. Josh Heupel trying to scramble, make something happen.
Kevin Williams getting the crowd yelling for good reason. This Cowboy defense has laid it on the line tonight. This is a defense that's given up 19 touchdown passes. They've only given up 1 today. They're 110th in pass defense, and they're standing up to the challenge. They're coming after Jeff Ferguson. Here they come. And the punt almost blocked. Gets it away. Lindsey from his 18. Going left. Has some room. To the 40-yard line, Gabe Lindsey.
On the return.
And it looks as though OSU's got a shot of energy. They almost blocked the kick, and then Lindsey makes a dash for it.
And Jeff Ferguson, the punter, gets a lot into it. He's out-kicked the coverage. Look how far the guys are off Lindsey, and there's a blocker on the first gunner down. Once you do that, his ability to get to the outside, and then he picks up some blockers. He does a nice job in getting the ball upfield, and the kicker's in his way. There's Derek Strait again. Number 2, Derek Strait is a pretty good ball player.
He's been all over the field today, but now OSU again with a short field, but they have to take advantage of it. Tatum Bell brings it! Look out! To the 30, 20, 10! Touchdown Cowboys!
61-yard touchdown run. Number 33, Tatum Bell and the Cowboys.
Tatum Bell with his longest run of his young career and his first rushing touchdown. 60 yards officially.
We talked about
right back in it.
Where the speed is for this ball club. The speed was a freshman just sitting on the sidelines waiting to get in.
How about a little swinging gate here on the extra point? Now they move it over. Seth Conley, 18 of 20 on extra points. And the kick is good. Tatum Bell, recruited by Bob Simmons. Simmons' last game, and the freshman from DeSoto may have just sounded a wake-up bell for the #1 team in the country. After today, he will no longer be the head football coach at Oklahoma State. He has been very emotional about it, but he says he's at peace with it. He resigned under pressure. His team said today, they were telling us on the field, they would like nothing more than to give this man a going-away present, a win. And right now, they've excited this sellout crowd at Lewis Field as they are within 5 of the #1 team in the country. OU has responded in every big game they have played this year. Nebraska, Kansas State, Texas A&M, and obviously Texas. Will they respond tonight? Schwetman will kick it away. Looking into the sun at the 2-yard line. Curtis Fagan, he's tripped up, not before he crosses the 20. And OU will take over 1st and 10.
Number 12, Curtis Fagan on the return.
Do you feel a new sense of enthusiasm on this OSU team? The crowd, this is the first they've cheered since the opening quarter.
Well, sure the crowd is into it, but I'm wondering how much Josh Heupel has in his tank. I don't know if he's been injured. The ability to stretch the field vertically You have to use it. You have guys outside who have speed. Get them down the field.
Swings it out into the flat. The OSU defense is there, but running right by him, Damian Mackey. Yeah, that should be good enough for a first down.
Now, people will look at that and they'll say, well, Josh Heupel's not throwing the ball far down the field. That ball has to be thrown just as accurately as the 15-yard comeback to the outside, the deep hook to the inside, because you want that receiver to be able to catch it without breaking stride.
Well, he picked up 9 on the play. They're going to have to measure it. But this is a young man that we have to say does not get rattled. Josh Heupel doesn't have that in him.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get rattled, but sometimes you play. This is the 11th game of the season. You've been up for every ball game. You had that Big 12 championship awaiting you on December 2nd against Kansas State. It is human nature.
That's right.
You know, it's just like somebody saying, well, you know, December 25th is just another day. No, that's Christmas. And their Christmas, when they're looking at it, is December 2nd. And sure, they got some presents sitting around the tree today in the shape of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They need to open those up before they get on with what the business is next week.
Well, let's take you back a couple of weeks when you and I were sitting around with Coach Bill Snyder at Kansas State, and he said the reality of it is you can't get up for every game.
Exactly right. And there are some games you just, you know, you can't shake it off of. We used to have a thing that we called, when I played in Green Bay, called the Mocus. When we weren't having a good day, we'd say the Mocus was on us.
I like that. Second down and inches. Heupel just keeps it, and OSU stacks him up. Looks like he got it, but it's going to be very, very close.
He got turned sideways before he got started going forward.
Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator of Oklahoma State, has done a marvelous job preparing the guys in orange. It is a first down. That's Heupel's 4th rush of the afternoon.
Well, I remember one thing that Mike Cassidy told us, Jesse. He said, Oklahoma wants you to blitz so that you get into one-on-one situations. Well, they've had a few blitz situations, but they played zone behind it. And then they've also had situations where they've had guys up and then dropped 8, 9 guys back into coverage, which has really confused Josh Heupel.
Now he has 3 wide to the left. Straight ahead. Keeping it on the ground with Quentin Griffin.
22 Quentin Griffin on the carry.
Kevin Williams on the stop. Tomorrow on America's favorite pregame show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris are joined by weather girl Jillian Barbieri and tells you where it's hot and where it's not. Our sarcastic stage Jimmy Kimmel makes his picks. It's all part of the wildest NFL pregame show on TV, Fox NFL Sunday, tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox. Heupel swings it out, left side, first down OU. Again, it is Damian Mackey, the sophomore out of Union City, California. They just have so many weapons, and they've been in such a groove over the last couple of weeks offensively. We're still waiting for them just to get that rhythm back that they've had the previous couple of weeks.
Well, and I think to Oklahoma State's credit, with all the distractions that they've had with their coaching situations, these players have buckled down, they've come to work, and they're ready to play this ball game.
First and 10 from the 42. Griffin straight ahead, maybe picks up 2. But Mike Cassidy made a great point. Obviously, when Coach Simmons announced that he was resigning, it was about 3 weeks ago. He said he immediately got his defensive players together and told them, we're still going to prepare for games like we're going to be here for a while. There's Coach Cassidy on the right there, the far right. But he said, we're going to prepare for good games, and he wanted his defense to still play with a smile on his face. I think he did the right thing by doing that, didn't he?
He very well did, because when you talk to players, you still have to come to work. You have to be ready to play. And there's so much going on. You know, it's a holiday weekend for these kids. They want turkey. They're out for bear today.
Straight ahead running, and you can hear the pads popping. Chris Carter made the initial contact on Griffin. Antoine Savage has come out of the locker room, did it just about 3 or 4 minutes ago. He's on the sideline, but the helmet's off. And we will not speculate what his injury is. Suffice it to say, he's not in the game. He looks like the bell may be ringing, and he's not sure where the phone is right now. Now it is third down, the biggest third down that OSU has tried to stop today. Heupel pressure backside, fires it over the middle. Caught by Curtis Fagan. And that will be another Sooner first down, and that is the Josh Heupel we have seen all year.
Yeah, but that's also what Oklahoma State wants on their side. Guy catches it, you prevent him from being able to run after the catch, you make those tackles. These guys are dangerous when they get out in the open field. That time, an excellent tackle by Terrence Robinson.
5th catch for Fagan. You mentioned the yards after catch. The OU receivers are excellent. That's how far OU needs to go.
They need to go to the end zone.
Absolutely. Heupel again into the flat. Pass is complete to Seth Luttrell, the senior out of Muskogee, Oklahoma. Seth Luttrell, one of the great stories of OU. Comes to Oklahoma. His father was somewhat of a legend there. Everybody said this young man's not going to play. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the size. Mark Mangino, Chuck Long, Bob Stoops, all telling us yesterday this young man has done everything they've asked and then some.
And you know what, that's really the case for a lot of ball players on this team. You look at their offensive line, a lot of guys who have overachieved on that bracket right up there.
9th play of the drive, started on their own 21. Griffin again. Bounces forward, down inside the 40, down to about the 38-yard line. Dwayne Levels again on the tackle.
You know, when you come into this ball game as an Oklahoma State Cowboy, you look at Oklahoma, you see the record, you say, yeah, they're really good. They got all the great players. But at some point in the ball game, you get in the game and say, hey, we got a chance. And I think that's what Oklahoma State is feeling like right now. We got a chance in this ball game.
3rd down and 3, they're showing blitz. Now they back off, they bring 5, Heupel runs away from it. The shovel pass again. Griffin inside the 25, down to the 23-yard line. 15 yards on the pickup.
You get enough protection up front. The offensive line collapses the defensive left. And then after that, it just looks like the reverse option. Who said the wishbone was gone? All that was a little flick of the right hand by Josh Heupel. That looked like Thomas Lott going around pitching it to David Overstreet.
That's some memories there. 1st and 10. Final 70 seconds of quarter number 3. OU is marching. OSU rushes 4. Heupel, penalty flag is thrown, pass complete. Matt Anderson, the senior tight end out of Moore, Oklahoma, his first reception in the big fella. Looks like a defensive lineman. But we have a penalty flag, and it'll go against OU.
Offensive holding in a passing situation is an effort penalty. That means that the defensive player is putting forth more effort than you are. You have to be able to move your feet when you're trying to pass block.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the previous spot by rule.
So they'll back it up.
I like that description, by rule. Not because I felt like it.
Yeah,
Not
really.
because I don't like the guys in white. But it's a rule. I got to move it back 10.
We see Bob Stoops on the sideline. His squad, only their 5th penalty. It's been a well-played game. Only 8 total penalties in the contest. So it'll be 1st and 20 from the 34-yard line.
Got a little wrinkle on the formation there. The wide receiver in the backfield.
Damian Mackey is in the backfield. They give it to Griffin. Hole over the right side, breaks through again. Down to the 20, down to the 19-yard line. 15 yards on the pickup for Quentin Griffin.
You get wide receivers in the backfield, you think, yeah, we're going to throw to them. They'll do something real cute. Sometimes they just do the dirty work. Damian Mackey is going to cut block. Going to get the big guy and get him on the ground. That's what you have to do. Sacrifice your body a little bit for the good of the team.
Now, for only the 2nd game of this year, Quentin Griffin has gone over 100 yards running the football. He's at 117. And the clock goes to 3 zeros. 15 minutes left to be played in the 95th meeting of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And hold on to your seats. College football Saturday has the #1 team in the country leading 12-7, 4th quarter straight ahead. Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net, our final regular season game featuring the #1 team in the country And tops in the Big 12 Conference, the Oklahoma Sooners. They are taking on the Oklahoma State Cowboys at Lewis Field in Stillwater. And as we head to the final stanza, OU leads at 12-7 along with James Lofton and Eric Cummings. I'm Ron Thulin. This is turning out about what we thought it would.
And this is where it becomes a great chess match. Mark Mangino, the offensive coordinator, what are they going to do? Are they going to come after you? Are they going to drop back?
Little play action pass, wide open, dropped! Josh Norman wide open. Could not put the hands around the football.
That's an easy touchdown for Josh Norman if he catches that football. Nice call by Mark Mangino. Getting Josh Heupel out of the pocket. They've run the ball effectively. Now you have to go to the backup call. Okay, that worked. That was the number one on our list. We had a whole break during the quarters to figure out what's number one on our list. We call it. Everybody's on the sideline. Have it set up perfectly.
Now it is 3rd down and 6. Only 142 yards passing today for Oklahoma. Heupel looking. Being rushed, and he is dragged down from behind by DeQuay Thomas.
I don't like the way Josh Heupel went down on that play.
Only the 15th sack allowed by the Sooner offensive line, and Heupel slow to get up.
Really, you put that little bunch formation there, and you don't run anybody deep. Everybody's short, then they're trying to break after the scramble. And Josh Heupel gets run down. Gets his knee caught up under him. That right knee, ooh, I didn't like the way that looked at all.
Duncan for the field goal. 45-yarder, and it's sailing wide to the right. And it is no good. And the Cowboys have the momentum on their side. 14-13 left to play in this football game. Josh Heupel and the top-ranked Sooners have their hands full in Stillwater. Twelve to 7, the number one Oklahoma Sooners, who average almost 43 points a game, leading Oklahoma State. Heupel on the sideline, appears to be okay.
First down and 10 for the Cowboys from the 28.
Our 1st and 10 line on College Football Saturday brought to you by Verizon. Verizon making the world of communications a whole lot simpler. Left side, Tatum Bell. Already with a 60-yard touchdown run to his credit. That electrified the crowd here in Stillwater.
There's something about bringing a fresh player in. So Reggie White, number 4, sticking it up in there the first half. Also Poguy trying to get it done. And then Tatum Bell comes in. Big run for a touchdown. And you could see that he's playing at a little different tilt than the Oklahoma Sooners defensive players.
Just what OSU wants to do. Big yardage on 1st down. 2nd and 1. Bell stacked up, and he did not get the 1st down. Again, Torrance Marshall right in on the tackle.
33 Tatum Bell carrying straight ahead. Short loss on the play.
Bell averaging about 4 carries a football game. Has that already tonight. And now OSU with 3rd down and 1.
We bring in Brian Blackwood, number 84, big tight end, Tim Burrow, fullback. You would think that they're going to power it up the middle. Now is a great time to take it in the middle, bootleg, get Poguy away from all that traffic and just dump it to somebody for an easy gain.
OU with 8 in the box. Poguy running the option. Dances over the 40, has the 1st down up to the 43-yard line. J.T. Thatcher grabs him by the toenail and pulls him down.
Talk about a great strength. Oklahoma being able to pursue. Watch Kalmus, number 20, out in front of this play. And then Poguy, nice cutback and heading directly up the field. I guess east and west on this field. West. Yeah, because this field goes east and west as opposed to north and south.
First and 10. 12:32 to play. Straight ahead running, Tatum Bell. Again, a good chunk of yardage on 1st down. Eric Clemens, you're on the sideline. You're by the OSU team. Can you feel the momentum changing?
Yeah, I was over there a little bit earlier, Ron. The momentum is definitely changing again. What Coach Simmons told us coming out at the half. All we need is the offense to make a play and really get the belief. The defense already has it. The offense and also Poe guy has to keep that momentum and really convert on drives and opportunities like this, guys.
As well as they've run the ball, 2nd and 4, now's your chance for play action. Jamal Fobbs, number 2, he's my playmaker. Up top, play action pass.
Burrow, right side, and he's burrowed into the ground. Maybe picked up 1. It'll be 3rd down and about 3.
I'm just an aggressive offensive coordinator. I think attack, attack, attack.
You do, don't you?
I got him in 2nd and 4. I've been creasing him with the run. I'm going to try and hit something big.
Del Miller, offensive coordinator on your left.
Del Miller right there. He's done a good job in finding runs that work. Now he's having a little problem getting the right personnel, and you can see him going, oh, what are they doing? Get these guys in and get this play called, because I got a good one called.
2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. 3rd and 3. Poe guy keeps it, stumbles, and he is dropped for a loss of 3.
Corey Heineke.
Corey Heineke, the junior out of Edmond, Oklahoma, came in as a walk-on transfer, makes a big play for the Sooners.
And Heineke, right at the outside guy, he's playing the outside responsibility. He doesn't get baited in by that fake to the inside. Nice job. And there's not supposed to be a turf monster on this Astro play turf, but turf monster got Asso Poe guy a little bit right there.
Big defensive stand by the Sooners, forcing Scott Elder to punt again. Punting into the wind. Wobbly kick, fair catch called at the 18. 34 yards on the kick, but inside the 20 again for Elder. 10-16 to play in the ball game. The Sooners with the lead in the football. Oklahoma is the #1 team in the country, but they only have a 5-point advantage, and Josh Heupel not having a Heupel-type day. Just about 50% completion on his passes. Yardage not good. They keep it on the ground. They run right there. Great defensive play by Jaquay Thomas again. The senior out of Houston, Texas.
Jaquay Thomas is a speed edge rusher. You're trying to influence him, get it going the other way. He's just as fast as Josh Norman. He's going to run him down and make the play.
They said he's got 4.4 speed. He came into the game with 37 unassisted tackles, and he's added to that total. Loss of 6. 3 wide receivers left. OSU changing their defensive coverage, and we have movement on the offensive line. Scott Kempenek, the senior out of Wagner, lifted up.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down.
And I think the crowd will take their cue from that play. It's time to get loud. I mean, you had them backed up. Granted, everybody works on that silent count, but when you're trying to audibilize, when you're trying to figure out what a defense is doing that you haven't been able to figure out since the first drive in the ball game, your offense can be in a little bit of trouble.
OU coaches told us they weren't going to hide any plays, saving them for next week. They didn't take Oklahoma State lightly, but OSU a whale of a game. Griffin wrapped up, almost losing the football. Again, Jaquay Thomas at the bottom of the pile. I think there's very little doubt that Josh Heupel is struggling. Only 142 yards. He's had a couple dropped by his wide receivers, but the completion percentage, 53%. Normally, that would be good.
Nor has he challenged this unit down the field. Even in big ball games in the past, they've had tight coverage. He has not been afraid to throw it up and let his receivers make plays, and they haven't allowed the receivers to make the big plays down the field.
Only 1 touchdown scored by the Sooners. 3rd and 20. Heupel, plenty of time. In the flat, has a man drop. Curtis Fagan had it in his hands and couldn't wrap it up. Again, Heupel a victim of drop passes.
Boy, this ball is right on the money. The best ball that Josh Heupel's thrown all day, and just through the hands of Curtis Fagan.
And now it's dangerous time. Oklahoma State has blocked punts this year. They've blocked kicks.
They've blocked 6 of them. Believe me, Jonathan Hayes, the special team coach, has prepped them on this. Right up the middle, Fate Carter, 54. Watch him.
The snap is good and the kick is good. At the 38-yard line, Lindsey has left, has a wall, cuts back in OU territory down to the 38-yard line.
Boy, and Jeff Ferguson, the punter, number 83, got nailed in the back, but he was right in front of every orange uniform on the OSU sideline. There was not going to be a yellow flag thrown there.
23 yards on the return, and OSU is threatening to upset the #1 team. College football on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by True Value, where help is just around the corner. That could probably be the mantra of Oklahoma right now. They need a little help around the corner because with 8:25 to play in the football game, the #1 team in the country leads by just 5 points. OSU first and 10 in OU territory. Oklahoma minus 14 yards here in the 4th. Bob's in motion. Poguy keeps it, razzle-dazzle down the middle, has a man.
Now we got a holding call.
Tatum Bell was the intended receiver. Ante Jones was there for the coverage.
I mean, that's a slow developing play. You fake 2 reverses. You fake the handoff up the middle to Bell. He becomes the eventual receiver. And it could have been interference at the tail end of the play.
He looks like he's enjoying this.
Well, he wanted the pass interference play down the field, and he should have gotten that.
Bob Simmons' name will come up with a lot of coaching positions. Been named among some of our sources of possibly Rutgers, but he is an exceptional man, and he has really elevated this program. And whoever comes in is going to have an awfully good-looking young quarterback, and also Poguy, despite those numbers. But the holding call puts him back to the 49-yard line of Oklahoma. First and 20.
You'd love to be able to get half of it on first down.
Poguy looking, passing, complete up to the 35. They do just that, James. And then some.
That is the arm strength that Del Miller, the offensive coordinator, was talking about when we walked into the meeting. Said, you got to see this guy. You got to watch him in person. He just has arm strength. There's Del Miller. You can see Del Miller a little better now because the coaches upstairs finally decided we need to turn the lights on in our booth. You get up there during the daytime and it's light, and then the game gets so intense, and the one guy who's in charge of the lights forgets to turn them on. They've turned the lights on. That's why we got a better shot of them.
And it sets up a 2nd and 6. Poguy is a little shovel pass, but OU there to wrap up Reggie White. Torrance Marshall was right there. And now a big 3rd down play for the Cowboys.
You're in 2-down territory.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, I say that, and then the next thing I think about, well, Oklahoma hasn't moved the ball. Do you pooch punt if you don't pick it up here?
I think you have to go for it. Your defense has been playing well. Del Miller standing up. Coached with Bill Snyder at Kansas State, one of the first coaches hired in '89. But this could be the game.
You got the big guy out here, Marcellus Rivers, number 85.
Plenty of time. Poguy dumps it off. Complete. First down. Oklahoma State. Kari Jackson, the senior tight end out of Detroit.
Yeah, you get the big target out there. Kari Jackson, number 5, just a big body, and this is a bullet. Because he doesn't have time to react to it. He just sticks it right in there. You saw Del Miller on his feet. He's watching this game. He's nervous. He says, okay, now I can sit down and call the next play. Bob Simmons is just trying not to hop on that bad leg right now.
And it is first and 10 for the Cowboys, knocking on the Sooners' door. wide with Tatum Bell. And the freshman picks up a couple of hard-earned yards.
Straight ahead. Gain of about 3.
Barry Holloman on the tackle, the junior out of Putnam North High School in Oklahoma City. This is for bragging rights in the state of Oklahoma.
It's for a little more than bragging rights.
Yes.
I mean, what would it mean to this program, Bob Simmons on the exit, to knock off the #1 team in the country and to knock them out of a chance at maybe playing for the national championship?
2nd and 7. OU brings 5. Poguy steps up, still on his feet, throws, complete! What a pass by Aso Poguy! Rashawn Woods with the reception. The redshirt freshman playing like a senior.
You see, awesome Aso right there. He's reading the sign. He's going, yeah, I guess I am. Whatever you say I am. Now on the 10-yard line, you look for mismatches. Where can I get a size guy against a guy who's not very big? Talked to Mike Stoops before the ball game. He said, I want good size at corners. Michael Thompson, 6'1", Derek Strait, 5'11". Auntie Jones, number 11, is only 5'9". Go after him if he's on the field.
Poguy just gets the timeout called. 1 on the play clock, and the redshirt freshman out of Lawton, Oklahoma, calls the timeout. Eric Clemens, Aso Poguy, playing against a team that initially recruited him when John Blake was head coach.
Absolutely, Ron. Under that previous regime at Oklahoma, Poguy was all set to come to OU, but Bob Stoops took over for Coach Blake and told him thanks but no thanks, was not interested. Poguy, of course, wound up here at OSU, and do you think he could be a little pumped up if he leads his team to a touchdown and a big upset victory here in Stillwater tonight? You think they'd ever hear the end of that story, the story of Aso Poguy, the redshirt freshman who's looked so poised down here on this drive for Oklahoma State?
This young man has already set the freshman passing record set by Mike Gundy back in '86. He has it tonight.
And the numbers don't tell the story.
Absolutely.
9 out of 18, because on this drive, he's made the pressure plays when he's had to. He's made them with his feet, his ability to move around in the pocket. We saw early on how courageous he was. He tried to bulk over Torrance Marshall, the middle linebacker for Oklahoma Sooners. So, like I said, now you try and look for that mismatch where you have a size mismatch.
1st and goal. They cannot get a first down. The sticks are down on the far side. Maybe a yard by Bell. Torrance Marshall lowering the boom on him again.
A little bit of a keep him honest play. Can we pop one and just run it straight into the end zone? Now, 2nd down. Think, okay, you look at what Oklahoma's done. They've allowed 4 fourth-quarter touchdowns in the last 12 games. Sometimes that's with the number 2s on. They're able to get big leads. They play some backup guys. This is a very prideful unit. They were creased for that big run early. But now they're back on their heels, and they've been on the field a lot this second half with the inability of their offense to move the football.
2nd and goal from the 9. Poguy bobbles the snap. Scrambling. Steps up. Running room. Down to the 7-yard line, and he is dropped hard by Marshall again. Poguy made lemonade out of lemons.
But good decision making by Poguy there. You get a bad snap. You get knocked back in the pocket. You're so deep that everything's been thrown off and out of whack. Sure, you could launch the ball into the end zone and hope that somebody comes down with it, but he makes the best of a bad situation. He picks up some yardage. He actually has put the pressure back on Oklahoma's defense.
No first down possibility. 3rd and goal. It is at the 7.
2 downs to get in the end zone.
And there's movement. Oh, my.
See, this doesn't bother me. I want to back it up so I have extra room to throw the football.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
I've got to mention that OSU's Bob Simmons, his troops haven't been in this type of close ball game at this point in the ball game this year. This is new to this team, and it's especially new to Aso Pogai.
Yeah, and you're getting Marcellus Rivers, number 85, trotting on the field. 6'4 and a half, 6'5", 255, 60 pounds, depending upon how much he had to eat this week. That's your mismatch. That's your size matchup. He's going to be lined up. The inside receiver, the three guys on this side, I like him if you can knife him right down the middle.
3rd and goal from the 12. Pogai looking, throwing, just throwing it away. He's hit and dropped as he let it go. Fourth down and goal from the 12.
And it's not a bad time to use your last timeout.
Corey Callens making a little Aso Pogai sandwich. And OSU has burned their final timeout of the football game.
That doesn't bother me at all, because this is what Oklahoma's season comes down to. We're focusing so much on Oklahoma State trying to get in the end zone. Oklahoma Sooners 10-0 heading into next week's Big 12 championship game, trying to keep that BCS rating intact.
BCS ranking is going to be affected by this football game. Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. A sellout crowd have come to see Oklahoma, the top-ranked team, and the Cowboys of Oklahoma State, along with James Lofton and Eric Clemens. I'm Rod Thulin. OSU trying to pull off their biggest upset over Oklahoma since probably 1976. They're looking for their 4th win in the last 6 years over the Sooners, but Mike Stoops' defense now has OSU facing 4th down and goal to go from the 12-yard line. And the young redshirt freshman experiencing something new today.
And 2 things you can do here offensively. You can try and throw a pass into the end zone. Sure, only 12 yards for your receivers to run up and get in that end zone. Or you can throw something underneath with guys running in front of them, almost like the little jailbreak screen, but not maybe with the offensive lineman out in front of them, and a guy can run into the end zone, kind of like what the Tennessee Titans tried to do against the St. Louis Rams in the Super Bowl. But you want to get something, you want to get the ball out of your quarterback's hands quickly. They put pressure on him in the last couple plays, knocked him around, so you want to get it so you can release that ball quickly.
This is it. The number 1 ranking on the line. The OSU season on the line. Floating it into the end zone. Knocked away. Complete, intended for Rivers. Derek Strait, Johnny on the spot. The redshirt freshman out of Austin.
He got the ball out quickly. He tried to go for the mismatch with Marcellus Rivers. We talked about Derek Strait all game long. We saw the tackle in the backfield. Here he comes up with a big play. He gets his hands on the ball. That ball could have been thrown a little deeper into the end zone. But nice elevation by Derek Strait playing that football.
But there are still 3 minutes and 15 seconds showing on the clock. It is not over yet for Bob Simmons. His defense has played exceptional.
For Josh Heupel, it's about making first downs right now. They've run the ball well. They may continue to do that right here.
First and 10 for the Sooners. And they keep it on the ground with Griffin. Eric Clemens, interesting call on 4th down and goal by the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was wondering what you guys thought about it, actually. As well as their defense has played on the Oklahoma State side of the football, wouldn't you kick the field goal there to make it 12-10, rely on the defense and get it back, maybe try a game-winning field goal as time is running out, if you can stop them the way they've stopped the OU offense so far here in the second half? What do you guys think?
I think you try and go for the win, and that's what they tried to do. You had what you wanted. You had Marcellus Rivers, your big guy, against a guy who's only 5'11", but the guy who's 5'11" came up with the big play.
Second down and 8. OSU, no timeouts left. Heupel will take his time. And the play clock just before it goes to zero, Josh calls a timeout.
See, Josh Heupel's looking at that defense. He's going, they're giving me the pass. I can take it and I can complete it.
Former WBA super welterweight champion David Reed will be on Sunday Night Fights tomorrow. He makes his middleweight debut against WBC International super welterweight champion Carino Garcia in a 10-round middleweight brawl between a couple of top 10 contenders. The bell will ring tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern only on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listings for the start time in your area. Garcia, 28-20-1, but he has 22 knockouts. Started his career at 0-18. Talk about a comeback. He's won 28 of his last 31. That'll be tomorrow on Sunday Night Fights, but right now we have a Saturday night fight. A couple of heavyweights from the state of Oklahoma.
Okay, let's play this out on the time clock. 2:29 to go. Second down. If Oklahoma is able to make them punt the ball, still get the ball back with about 45 seconds to play at best.
I think you saw the sign, and that's the sentiments of a lot of people here in Stillwater. Bob Simmons, this is his swan song. But he's not concerned with that now with 2:29 to play. Griffin slips, falls back at the 12-yard line, and a penalty flag is thrown.
There's a flat. Now, would that be a tripping call?
It looked like he tripped over his
Chris
own
Carter's
guy.
out there, and number 68, Howard Duncan, is out there.
It's against OU.
Which stops the clock.
But do you decline the penalty? Because it'll be third down and probably 12.
Holding on the offense, decline.
Yeah, you don't want to give him another down to run time off the clock.
Well, Mark Mangino and Bob Stoops talking to us last night about game management and clock management. You have 2:24 left. You're facing 3rd and 11. Clock management.
Yeah, and the clock starts now, so it's ticking down. Now, if Josh Heupel's aware of it, he's going to let this thing tick all the way down to about 1 second, so snap it with about 2 minutes. He let 10 seconds stay on the clock.
Heupel looking for the first, and they hit it! Complete to Curtis Fagan, right at the first down marker. His best pass of the evening.
It's a little too much underneath. They run them off deep. They stretch it vertical, and there it is.
We saw him in that A&M game under pressure, seeing him tonight.
Josh Heupel stepping into that throw, getting everything he had on it.
Chuck Long, the former Iowa All-American and NFL quarterback, joining Mark Mangino and the OU staff, has meant so much to Josh Heupel this year.
Now defensively, you want to try and strip the ball out.
Yep. 2:02 to play. No timeouts for the Cowboys.
I wouldn't believe that they try and throw it again.
You wouldn't think. You need to run maybe 3 plays. There's one. But Griffin is stopped. Carter wrapped him up immediately. Putting Griffin on the carry, and the player of the game brought to you by TiVo. TV your way is Quentin Griffin. Second time this season over 100 yards rushing the football, 20 carries, 119 yards. The sophomore from Aldine, Texas. Congratulations, you're our TiVo player of the game.
Second down and 11.
Second down and 11. Inside of 1:30 to play. Keeps it himself. Close to a first down. They say he's going to be short by about 2 yards. The executive producer of Fox Sports Net is Bill Borson. Coordinating producers of college football. 2 of the best in the business, folks. Roy Hamilton and Gary Garcia. Today's game was produced by Mike Helling, directed by Ken Fouts, and the vice president of field operations is Andrea Berry. I'd like to take a moment to thank our entire crew. We have an Oklahoma State player down for a tremendous season. Mike Helling, Ken Fouts, our producer, all our guys in the truck. On behalf of James and Eric and myself, we do thank you for making this a very fun year and probably the best year we've had in a long, long time, but a lot of fun. Thank you, gentlemen. You guys have done yeoman's work this whole season.
Dwayne Levels, the middle linebacker, went down. They'll let him get off the field. They will then start the clock and the play clock at the same time. So this now 1:04. Snap it after 24 seconds have expired, so 40 seconds. can hold them here, you can still make them punt. Oklahoma State has blocked 6 punts this year. But if you're Oklahoma, you take a safety.
Yep. Why not? Third down and a deuce. OSU creeping up on the line. 7 to snap it for Heupel. And he's going to call the timeout with 1 second left. So Bob Stoops still has not started thinking about Kansas State yet. He still has some time left on the clock. I'll tell you, most people thought this would be a blowout, James, but credit to Bob Simmons and his staff and the job he's done taking this team to the Alamo Bowl just a few years back, and now he's moving on. But we'd wish our best to Bob Simmons and his family, an exceptional family. His wife is a tremendous lady. I think you've heard the story, donated a kidney to Bob a year ago. He had a wonderful son in Nathan who played here. And we wish that man nothing but the best in years to come. He's a good one.
Yep. I think it's going to turn out well for him. But if I'm Bob Simmons, I'm out fighting for my 2 seconds on the clock. The clock started with 1:04. 24 seconds ran off the play clock. There should be 40 seconds on that clock right now. And believe me, if you played in sports, and you fought down for 60 minutes, you don't want to get cheated out of a couple of seconds. Because that's 1 snap of the clock.
Well, it came down to this 4th down play, 4th and goal for Aso Pogai.
You know, he gets the ball up quickly. It's a little flat. He needs to get it in better position so that his receiver can be ready to jump for it. But once again, a nice play by Derek Strait.
OSU out of timeouts. OU 3rd and 2.
Would you pass here?
No, I wouldn't. Calls his own number. Heupel's got the first down, and that'll be the ball game. So the Oklahoma State Cowboys threw quite a scare into the Oklahoma Sooners. But Bob Stoops' team becomes the first team from the South Division of the Big 12 to go through the season undefeated. And he will head to Kansas City next week to take on the Kansas State Wildcats in the Big 12 championship game. And for Bob Simmons, a tough way to end his career here at OSU. I think Bob knows he's been in a battle today. Both Bobs. And that'll do it. 1 game separates Bob Stoops from going to the Orange Bowl. Not the explosive offense that we've seen in the past for the Sooners, but I think he'll take the victory.
We've had some funny numbers coming out of Florida the last 3 weeks. I wonder if this ball game and the closeness of it could cost Oklahoma their #1 rating.
That remains to be seen. 12-7 our final. The Sooners win it. Josh Heupel and the Oklahoma Sooners squeeze out a victory over the Oklahoma State Cowboys. The final 12-7. Eric Clemens is with OU coach Bob Stoops.
Bob, now you can finally really concentrate on that Big 12 championship next week. Your emotions after this one?
Phil, I'm very, very grateful. I sort of steal a line from someone else. I know the good Lord was smiling on the Sooners today. I tell you, we were fortunate. And Oklahoma State, a lot of good players and good schemes. They do a nice job. Coaches do, their team does. It was a good, hard-fought game. I thought it would be.
We talked yesterday about the Big 12 championship. You like that setup where a team gets a chance to really prove it deserves to be where it is on the field. Talk a little bit, look ahead to me to the Big 12 championship against Kansas State, your second meeting against them.
It'll be a great atmosphere to go up to Kansas City and compete again with Kansas State. It'll be fun. It'll be a great environment. We'll be excited to play. Feel great to be 11-0 right now. Very fortunate today, but we'll be anxious to play next week. It'll be a great environment.
Do you feel at all that your team was flat in any way, or is this just a credit to Oklahoma State and the way they played you?
It's a credit to Oklahoma State. We weren't flat at all. They did a nice job. I'm not going to sit here and, hey, Oklahoma State made plays to keep them in the game. And fortunately, we made enough to win the football game, and there's a difference, and a big difference in winning and losing. We found a way to win.
You really came up with a stand there on the 4th down in the corner of the end zone. I'm sure your heart was jumping there.
Our defense has been great all year, and in this game, they came up big a number of times. Thanks.
Coach, thank you very much. Good luck to you in the Big 12 championship. Coach Bob Stoops, Ron Thulin, back up to you.
All right, thank you very much, Eric Clemens. 12-7 our final, but I think Bob Stoops now maybe because of the way they played against Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and in this football game, I think you might have to go back to the drawing board a little bit or at least refine some things between now and the Big 12 championship game, James.
Well, I also think for the Big 12 championship game that they pull out all the bullets. Now, they have to hope that Savage, the wide receiver, went out is healthy because they need all their players for that ball game. And the tough thing about it, you know that you're going to play in that championship game, but you look around and you see everybody else sitting at home. Only the SEC does it. You know, the Pac-10 doesn't do it. The Big 10, the ACC, they don't do it. You have to do it. So do your best and forget about the fact that, hey, it may be a little unfair. We've already beaten everybody. We deserve to be number one and go to the big game, but you still have to prove it. And the BCS ratings going into today, you see Oklahoma was number one. I don't really see them dropping because you look at all these other ball clubs, they've lost games. Oklahoma, they haven't lost any ball games.
And Miami is leading against Boston College, but we will have to wait to see what the computer spits out at us. As Oklahoma wins it, will they keep their number one ranking? We'll step aside, come back to Stillwater right after this. Sellout crowd of over 48,000 on hand. The Oklahoma State fans go away disappointed, but the Oklahoma fans can breathe a sigh of relief, mainly because of great defense today.
Yeah, they got a lot of stars on defense, led by Rocky Kalman's number 20. You go right down the list because Torrance Marshall gets involved in plays. You see guys, J.C. Thatcher in the secondary, and then Derek Strait comes up with that big hit there. And I thought that was a big play. Over the middle, see Torrance Marshall with the interception. Biggest play of the ball game, obviously, on fourth down. And there's Derek Strait, number 2, coming up with the win for Oklahoma.
They've won it with offense, but today they win it with defense. 12-7 the final. Back in a moment. Once again, the final score from Stillwater. Oklahoma wins it 12-7 over the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Be sure to tune in tonight at 10 for the National Sports Report. For James Lofton, Eric Clemens, and our entire crew in Stillwater, Oklahoma, I'm Ron Thulin. Thanks so much for watching today and throughout the season. College Football Saturday has been a presentation of Fox Sports Net.
And more, but let's start off with the Sooners taking on the Cowboys, a rivalry down in Oklahoma, Stillwater to be exact. Bob Stoops looking to lead the team to its first perfect season since '87. Here, Josh Heupel gets the Sooners on the board, connecting with Curtis Fagan for the short touchdown pass. Later in the first half, Heupel and the Sooners looking for more. Heupel threw for 154 yards, a season low. Here, picked off by Elbert Craig, who takes it back to the 26. Sooners up by just 12 at the half. Third quarter, the Cowboys get on the board. Tatum Bell rings up a 61-yard touchdown run, and the Cowboys cut the lead 12-7. Final minutes of the game, Oklahoma 3rd and 11, deep in their own territory, but Heupel coming through in the clutch, connecting with Curtis Fagan for the first down, and that leads to that. The kneel down for the Sooners as they go on to win, and yes, they would love to make it to the Orange Bowl. Bob Stoops and the Sooners survive. 12-7, the victory for the number 1 team in the land. For Bob Simmons, the Oklahoma State Cowboys coach, this is his final game. Bob Stoops, by the way, has as many wins, actually more wins now, 18 in less than 2 full seasons as the last 2 OU coaches produced in 4 years.
Heupel, Curtis Fagan, give him 6. Sooners up by a touchdown. Third quarter, Oklahoma State, Bob Simmons finale, hanging around, down 12-0. Tatum Bell logs on, and he is part of the Gone Network. 60 yards, and the Cowboys right back in this thing at 12-7. Fourth quarter, Cowboys driving. Aso Pogai stepping up in the pocket, looking for Rashawn Woods. He's down to the 10. Cowboys knocking on the door, trying to spoil the Sooner season. Same drive, 3rd and goal from the 12. Pogai under some heat, tosses it up and got smacked. Now it's going to be 4th and goal. Oklahoma State down 5, decide to go for it. They have to. Pogai, Marcellus Rivers, broken up by Derek Strait. Oklahoma takes over on downs. Boy, they escape. against Bob Simmons' team. 12-7 the final, lowest point total of the Stoops era. Heupel threw for only 154 yards and 1 touchdown and was picked off a couple of times, but Oklahoma maintains that track to the Orange Bowl. Of course, Kansas State looming large next week in the Big 12 championship game.
Well, Reese, I'm sure that Miami was aware of the score in Stillwater, and had the Cowboys completed that 4th down pass, the national championship matchup could have been set, a rematch of that game that Miami won on October 7th. Instead, Oklahoma has that one final hurdle that Nebraska couldn't clear in 96 and K-State couldn't clear in 98. And the way they're playing right now, Kirk, looks like a toss-up with Kansas State. Why is their offense struggling so much?
Well, I think teams have made adjustments. If you looked at Oklahoma early this year, teams were playing a lot of man coverage and blitzing them. Now in the last 3 weeks, teams are playing a little bit softer, rushing 3 or 4 people, playing zone and keeping everything in front of them, coming up and making tackles, forcing Oklahoma's offense to be patient, and it's been a very effective. Josh Heupel in the last 3 games, 6 interceptions and only 3 touchdowns. You could expect Kansas State to do the same thing this weekend. I'll tell you what, Oklahoma's starting to come across to me as a team that isn't playing with the same enthusiasm, almost like they're just expecting to win games. And I'll give them a little motivation a little bit later in the game.
They're going to need a lot of motivation. I'll tell you what, there's another team out there, Virginia Tech is playing tonight, was disappointed Oklahoma won that ball game because they could have made the BCS. Now, we talked about it in the pregame show. The difference between this game would be Virginia Tech's special teams. Well, they recovered a fumbled punt, touchdown. They blocked the punt, offsides. They returned the next punt, 55 yards, touchdown. They got 21 points, 14 off the special teams.
Plus that crowd, they get into that game, don't they, when they get those special teams going?
If the Hokies are smart, they should root for Oklahoma to win, by the way, because Oklahoma would go down to there and play in that Orange Bowl. That would free up a BCS at large bid. If the Sooners were to lose to Kansas State, KSU gets the automatic bid out of the Big 12, and Oklahoma probably would get one of those at large bids. So Oklahoma actually...
confusing, isn't
it? I know they're playing a... You look at the actual polls, 130 ballots between the coaches and the AP. Oklahoma was being voted first in 127 out of the 130. They might lose a few votes. I think they'll lose some ground in the computers to Florida State. That was a dead heat coming in. You beat a 3-8 team by 5 points, you lose some ground. But what about your top 5, mister? Is there a change?
You know what? I've been fighting a good fight in Norman, Oklahoma now for many, many weeks. And in fact, I was trying to hold up with Lee last week at his pep rally down at Tallahassee. But enough's enough right now with Oklahoma and the way they've been playing. Now, granted, they've been winning their games. But if I had to put a top 5 out there right now, the top 5 teams in order, I think the Miami Hurricanes right now are deserving of the #1 team in the country, followed by the Florida State Seminoles. And we might get a chance to see that matchup. Wouldn't that be exciting?
That'd be exciting.
Woo! Oklahoma, better regroup, boys. Better get ready to play Kansas State, or it's going to be ugly next week in the Big 12 championship game.
Yes, pep 'em up.
And then Washington, because they beat Oregon State head-to-head, headed to Pasadena. And the Beavers, we're going to see in San Diego at the Holiday Bowl, which should be exciting.
All right, here's mine. And you know what? I hate to tell you guys, it hasn't changed.
Of course.
This is the 3rd straight week that I've had these guys here. And let me tell you one point. Washington beat #2 and #5.
They're sliding down.
They're sliding down to #4. Because of the way they played. Yes, I don't care if they're undefeated. They didn't play like a good team today.
I told you, we're giving them motivation for next week. If that's what they need, that's what they just got.
You give them motivation, and I'll inject some sanity. You cannot rank an undefeated team in a major conference. Yeah, they had some tough games lately, but over the body of the season, they survived some tests. Are they playing the best football in the country right now? No. Are they more deserving of a ranking over teams that lost the game?
No.
Yes, in my mind.
But they're not playing better than Miami or Florida State
a week ago.
Trust me.
The Beavers.
And welcome back. Oklahoma, the 3 biggest wins of the season came as underdogs, Texas, Kansas State, and Nebraska. Since they've been the #1 team, they haven't really quite played the same kind of football against Oklahoma State, a team that won exactly 1 Big 12 game coming in. This was a struggle for Stoops' troops today in Stillwater. Early on, though, looked pretty easy. Josh Heupel, Curtis Fagan, touchdown, 7-0 first quarter. But that would be their last touchdown of the afternoon. They had a field goal and a safety. It's 12-0 when the Cowboys get back in the ball game. Tatum Bell, the pitch, 60-yard touchdown. Oklahoma State, midway 3rd quarter, back to within 5 points. Place was rocking. In the 4th quarter, Asa Pogai steps in the pocket, finds Rashawn Woods down to the 10. You see the clock. Trying to get in position for a go-ahead touchdown here. Later, they would get to the 10, push back to the 12. Pogai under pressure, throws it away. One final chance now on 4th down as Pogai picks himself up. They got to go for it. The fade, Marcellus Rivers. It is broken up by Derek Strait. Oklahoma takes over on downs. Heupel makes a big third down pass to move the chains, and they run out the clock. And Oklahoma's defense, for the third consecutive game, making the big plays at the end. Josh Heupel, for the third consecutive game, has 1 touchdown and a couple of interceptions. Quentin Griffin got it done on the ground. If anybody, playing better football right now than Miami, including #1 team Oklahoma. Sorry. Break down this game. I'm not going to ask you to make a pick because it's much too early for that. We'll get to Arrowhead Stadium. You can put on the hat of either the Sooners or the Wildcats, but Give me an early point in the game.
If I may, real quick,
well,
I thought, well, either way, I think coming up next week, the thing that Oklahoma is going to have to do is make some adjustments on offense. Right now, they have just been turning the football over. They've lost their rhythm. I think it's because of defenses and the way they have gone up and schemed against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma has to be able to run the football. They have to be able to stretch defenses, which they have not done in the last couple weeks. And the other thing is they need to play with more enthusiasm, more motivation. I think since they got the big win over Nebraska and people began to believe in their program, they've kind of gone downhill. They play better when people doubt them. And if that's the case, I think a lot of people are going to doubt their ability to beat Kansas State.
Well, they ought to listen to me more often. They really play great. Let me tell you something. Oklahoma's worst nightmare happened when Kansas State beat Nebraska. Why? Because Kansas State can run, they can throw, they play better defense than Nebraska, they can kick the ball better than Nebraska. Oklahoma would have bombed Nebraska. They're going to have all kinds of problems with Kansas State.
They will not be a big favorite, maybe 3.5, 4 points. So a lot of folks giving Kansas State a very good chance to win that football game.